Dan, you are not allowed to go to bed. Penguin butt. If Dan leaves, then I'm going to pay you to track him down. I know he lives in Canada. All right. And I'm pretty sure that you could probably track him down given enough time. I'll even give you a pay raise to track him down. Stephanie, hello. I might even be able to bribe Stephanie to help us narrow down the search too. Holy crap, Amber's, what up? Calling in the cat strike and the cat trip already. Oh, you got to play a game. What game are you playing, dude? Amber's is the kitty VIP, totally. Does Amber's redeem those things at the beginning of every single stream? Eventually they're gonna run out of like points. Out of the Abyss? Oh, cool. I've never played Out of the Abyss before. I don't even own that module. Dell, what's up? Yeah, but you'd have to fly from Texas to Canada. Do you realize how far? We don't even know where in Canada he lives. Chances are he lives in Ontario or Quebec. And I've heard him speak before, so I'm gonna go with Ontario. He probably lives in Ontario, so that'll narrow it down a little bit. Why are there no nachos? I ate the nachos. What's up, Hal Jordan? I'm good. Orange is good. Orange has been following me around, literally been following me around for the last 2 hours or so, and he is right here next to me right now. He has food. He just wants to be with daddy, I guess. I don't have any nachos. Why is everybody asking me about nachos? What about Ontario? Oh, I was saying that the probabilities are that Dan lives in Canada, so the probabilities are good that he lives in Ontario. So I believe that's one of the most heavily populated parts of Canada. So statistically, I'm guessing the chances are good he's in Ontario. That's what I was conjecturing. We're gonna track him down. and I've heard him speak before, and he doesn't sound like he's from Quebec. My stream was so successful in nachos last time. Oh yes, nachos make everything better. Stephanie, I don't know what you want me to read. Just repost it. Oh yes. We got the spreadsheet going on, right, folks? Yeah. Okay, cool. I see a couple people in there. All right, beautiful. Cornwall, Ontario. Is that an actual place? I'm gonna Google that. He probably just Cornwall, Ontario. Whoops, I put an R at the end of Ontario. Let me see where this is. Oh my gosh, that's over in the... Hey, what happened? That's over like in the far east of Ontario. Cornwall, England. Oh man, look at this. We're deleting comments already. Oh, Penguin Bud is having fun already. Nice. Look at that. He's having fun. Okay, easy peasy lemon squeezy. See you later, dude. Right by the New York border. Oh, look at that. No, that must be where they live. Stephanie, yeah. She's confirmed it, unless she Googled it too. I don't know. We'll have to figure this out. How would you handle enemy perception checks Passive perception against characters who aren't stealthing. So I do use passive perception for. I haven't even started the stream yet. I do use passive perception checks for stealth. That's the only thing I use them for, because it would be insane not to. People are walking down the corridor. Could I get you all to make me perception checks? Why? No reason. It would lead to metagaming. So it's the one case where I use passive perception. And what was the question? Against players who aren't stealthing. If you're not stealthing, then enemies automatically will notice you're there unless they're distracted. You know, like if there are a couple hobgoblins having an argument, they might not notice you walk up about 30 feet away. But otherwise, if they're not distracted, then they're gonna notice you're there. The typical adventuring group has got people in plate armor and stuff, and they're always usually talking. They're always discussing something. And I have a suit of armor that I wear. I used to wear it before, I haven't worn it in a long time. It is loud. It is loud as crap. Like you are not. People will notice you coming. That's end of story. Period. End of story. All right, I should probably start the stream, and then we can start answering questions and stuff. Whee! Yay! Hello! What's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. Tonight we're gonna hang out. We're gonna answer questions, have fun, chill, relax. It's Tuesday. We're going to welcome in a wonderful Wednesday. In the live stream tonight. So yeah, that's what's on the slate. So you guys can answer, leave your questions in the chat, hashtag question in all caps, and then your question. My lovely moderators such as Penguin Butt and Dan will be putting your questions into a spreadsheet over here. So there's no need for spam. In fact, Penguin Butt loves using her sword on spammers. So I suggest you don't do it. I think hey, Quasms, what's up, dude? How you doing, buddy? Oh, by the way, Quasms, I don't know if I told you this. The next batch of videos is dropping this Friday. So just so you know there. I'm pretty sure that's in our spreadsheet, but I just wanted to let you know. There you go. So yeah, put your questions down there. I'm gonna do some shameless plugs here before we jump into it, but then we will be answering questions. The first shameless plug here is for my Patron PDF. I just started putting this thing out in January. That's this month. It is full of Dungeon Master resources. It has, so this February's PDF is even bigger. I have more crap in it. We're gonna have villains with stat blocks in it. We're going to have NPCs, really cool NPCs, creative ones too. 10 traps. We have encounters complete with maps for virtual tabletops, and I have 2 complete 5th edition adventures in it as well, with maps for virtual tabletops. Really well done maps, I might add. So yeah, one of the adventures for this February's PDF is level 10 adventure and called the Oracle of Shadows, and the other one is a level 2 adventure called Medusa's Curse. So if you are interested in some high quality professional grade, I mean, I hope it's professional grade. I wrote it. I think it's pretty good. Resources to help you out in your games, reduce your prep time, perhaps increase the quality of your games, then check out my Patreon. There's a link down below and crap. What else was I gonna say about that? That's about it. Yeah, so check that stuff out. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say too is obviously the Patreon costs money. If you don't got money, that's fine, because I have a website, thedmlayer.com, where I also put DM resources for you to use. They're the things that we create on Friday live streams. So those go over to my website, thedmlayer.com, and those are free. So you can go over there, hook yourselves up, and avail yourself of the free resources over there. So there's something for everyone. If you want free stuff, there's free stuff. It's not as high quality as the stuff that you have to pay for, but that's the way life works most of the time. So anyway, something for everyone. And the next thing I have to do here. All right. Will Rab, what's up, dude? Wolfpool, hello. Sir Stellar, Stellar. And oh yes, we have to do the patron shout out time. So I wanted to thank all of my awesome patrons here who help keep the lights on around here, and many of them get the PDF too. In particular, we have Abby C, Beoban, Candy Sawyer, Clammed Oyster, DM Silver, Drake H, Ed R, Elisa Goose, Emmy, Float 71, Goliath Cleric, Iron Lord 79, John Kemi, Joe M, Joseph H, Kurt Y, Lord Humongous, Mr. T, Nathan, Owen D, Shane C, Sophia W, Son of a Sofa Man, Tactical Tokens, Tim Black, Theta Tech, Yokai, Published authors doing a lot of my maps too, by the way, really good. Ron H, Simon, Ryan, Dresna, Kezadiz, Watuza, the old DM, the Pickle, Penguin Butt in the house, Cockadoodle Doo, Radiance Guardians, Tony M, Kiriako? Yeah! They're gonna go cancel now. They're like, he can't even say my name! Alright, cool. I forgot your name again? I'm sorry, Dan. What level are you at, Dan? Are you supposed to be in red? Who gets in red? I think the red is the $25 tier. Are you at 25? Are you supposed to be up there? Are you really? Are you just screwing with me, dude? Dan is always in our hearts. Okay, I'm gonna make a note, Dan. I'm gonna make a note to see Dan stream name the shout out. I haven't made a note to look into it, Dan. You're screwing with me. Ah! I even made a note. I literally made a note. Now I am gonna send Penguin Butt after you. Penguin Butt, we know the name of the city he lives in. All right, Penguin Butt, I want you to find the cost of a plane ticket. That's true. Dan does get the most mentions throughout the stream. That's because he's always trying to slip his name into everything we do. He's like, yeah, a plane ticket from, where you live to Cornwall, Ontario. Yeah. You'll have to have your passport in order. If you're on the no-fly list for criminal activity, then we'll probably have to find like someone to do it instead of you. I don't know how your stand on that, sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, yep, have to get passport first. Yeah. Look, I'm sending an enforcer. Yes. Why I'm on the wrong day. January 19th. All right, there we go. All right, Eric from Phoenix. What's up, dude? How would you handle maps or buildings in your Curse of Strahd campaign if you were playing in person? I'm struggling to figure this out as I can't draw all that stuff. The included maps include the secret areas. Any thoughts? Thanks. Okay, so what would I literally do when I play in person? You guys, I cannot tell you how much I miss playing in person for various reasons, but one of them is that maps when I'm playing in person are so easy. I just have a big grid paper. It's a dry erase, wet erase grid paper, and I take a dry erase marker, and I just draw out the outline of the room. And then I have furniture and stuff in a tackle box that I have. I might put some furniture on there and stuff. But I just draw out the outline of the room, and I take my miniatures from my monsters. I put them on there. The players put theirs on there. Boom, we're done. It's beautiful. It works so well. I swear, one of my biggest frustrations with playing online is having to deal with stupid virtual tabletops. Getting the maps for them, I'm actually paying people now to make maps for me, so that I don't have to do it myself. Making the maps for my games, and then having to have tokens there and do all this stuff, and heaven forbid you have a random encounter that comes up. You know what I mean? It's a big pain in the butt. So like when I'm running games in person, grid paper, dry erase, marker, boom, 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 rock and roll. And yeah, as we're playing something like, Curse of Strahd, as they're exploring the dungeon, I've done it two different ways. It really depends on the dungeon where they're at. I have run certain dungeons where I literally will draw out each room as they explore. And I'm drawing out the entire dungeon as they're moving around on the map. I've done it that way before. I usually only do that for smaller dungeons where the encounters are packed together quite a bit. But for a larger dungeon, or where I don't anticipate there being a lot of battles, then what I'll do is I'll simply describe things narratively to them. I'll have a little mini HUD, a little tiny map that I just draw lines with. They don't put their figures on it, but I'll draw little lines so that they can see a general idea of the layout of the dungeon as they go through it. And then if there is an encounter, I will draw out that room on the map, and we will just simply have, only for encounters will I draw everything out where they can put their minis on it. I've done it both ways. Both ways work really well. I feel like they both have certain situations, where one is better for than the other, depending on how many encounters I feel that there are going to be, and other considerations as well. So that's how I do maps when I'm in person. It's so easy. It works so well. Yeah, it's good. Yes, Eric from Phoenix. I don't draw all the rooms, and I usually don't draw all the rooms. I do theater of the mind, but while I'm doing theater of the mind, the dungeon master, will, on the dry erase map, I'll draw a little tiny, I call it a HUD, heads up display. It's a little tiny map of the dungeon, so they have an idea of where they've been and where things are. I found, and then I'll have that little HUD, and then if a fight breaks out, I'll draw something actual sized so they can put their minis on it. That's exactly how I handle it most of the time. I have found that when I draw the map on the little HUD, that it is far faster than having a player be responsible for drawing the map. This is funny. There's like old school people who were like, back in the day, one of the players was responsible for drawing the map, and they had to draw the map out. Okay, yeah, understood. What I have found in my experience is that when a player is responsible for drawing out the map, two things are guaranteed to happen. One, they ask you to repeat yourself a lot so they can get it right. Slows the game down. Two, their map is wildly inaccurate. And it's not inaccurate because here's the thing. If you're actually in a dungeon, if you're physically there and you're drawing the map out, I feel like you could probably get things mostly right because you're looking at things, you're there. But because because when I'm describing it to you, you're not actually there, you're just imagining it and trying to figure it out, you're one more displaced from actuality, and it makes the map that more inaccurate. And so when I've had players draw, and I have had players draw the maps out before, and it doesn't usually work very well. Nobody's game experience is improved by having the players draw the maps out. It is faster and easier for me to just do it as I go. That is what I have found. So I don't assign the mapping duty to a player or something. I know some groups do. I know that's the old school way of doing it. I have found that there's a lot of reasons that many of the old school ways of doing things have disappeared over the years. Yeah, so. You're very welcome, Eric, dude. Happy to help, man. All right. Is it a DM sin to not follow raw a good bit of the time during the games? Rules as written. Okay. Is it a sin? No. At the end of the day, the dungeon master has the right to change the rules how they see fit. The dungeon master could theoretically change whatever rules they want. They're the master of the rules. The dungeon master guide tells you this. People will quote the page number to you and stuff. On page it says that the dungeon master. Okay, yes, agreed. So at the end of the day, the dungeon rules as written is that the dungeon master can change rules as written. So there's nothing to stop you from doing it. I can give you my personal opinion on it, which is all I can really do for almost anything around here. My personal opinion, and this is how I approach the game, is I try to change as few of the rules as written as I can. I try to change as few of them as I can. And I have reasons for this, obviously. One, They work well enough for the most part. If something really annoys me, then I might tweak it. That's the number one reason. Two, a lot of people will change rules because it's not realistic enough. I feel that that is an unsatisfactory reason to change rules as written. Because it's a game, you have to straddle that line between realism and rules to follow. And what usually happens is that as you delve more toward trying to have things be realistic, then your game rules get bigger and more, and you have more rules to follow as you try to get more realistic. But but the other side of that, of course, is you just have certain rules you follow. They're kind of realistic, maybe not totally realistic, but they get the job done. They give you a framework for following the game, for running the game, you know? And there's always this balance between like minimalistic rules that give you a framework for running the game, or very extensive rules that try to get you toward realism as much as possible. And so whenever we try to, especially 5th edition, which is fairly streamlined, when we want 5th edition to be more realistic, it usually means making additional rules and thus increasing the amount of rules we have, right? Which slows things down usually. The more rules you have, the slower the game will be, generally speaking. And so then what you find is as I'm creating more rules for people to know, it's not that I need to know the rules, my players need to know the rules. If a new player comes into the game, they need to know the rules. And also, when you're changing the rules, when you're adding new rules, you also have to say, one of the big questions that you should consider is the game made better? Is there a net increase in fun and enjoyment of the game by my having added this rule or changed this rule? And does it outweigh the burden of increased rules? So if a rule might make the game more fun, but if implementing those rules is a big pain in the butt and slows the game down, your balance might not be in favor of that rule. The game might have gotten like less bogged down, more rules and stuff, and those don't make up for the fun. Doesn't make up for the slowness in the game, the bogged down that comes from the increased rules. So you have to consider, is the rule worth it? That's the basic consideration. Is making this rule really worth it? Because we can say, well, that's not realistic. We should change it so it's more realistic. Do we really want realism? Like, how realistic do we need to be? Where's that line? Just to make something more realistic is not a good enough reason to change a rule, in my opinion. I'm really getting deep into my thoughts around changing the rules and stuff. And this is a conversation I have with my players a lot too, because there'll be a rule that comes up and we'll be doing something, and then a player will be like, "Well, Luke, the rule is written is not very realistic or anything." And my counter to that is like, sure, it might not be. There are many rules as written that are not realistic. And then, of course, it's not just that it's not realistic, but it's not realistic for you, for your personal opinion on the matter. And different people are going to have different opinions on whether it's realistic or not, based upon your understanding of, physics stuff. Like some people don't want you to be able to sleep in armor. 5th edition rules allow you to sleep in your armor. I think there's actually, in Xanathar's, I believe there is something, I think they have an optional rule where maybe you can't, or you don't get the benefits of a full long rest or something, or you have to make a constitution check. I forget the details, I have a suit of armor. Like, it's actually not that uncomfortable. I could probably sleep in it. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I don't know. That's just me personally. I don't think it would be that hard, especially human beings are some of the most adaptable creatures in the world. Like, if you have soldiers that wear this crap every single day, they're probably going to get accustomed to it. They're going to get used to it. They're going to be able to sleep in it. It's just what they do. It's their job. They're going to get used to it. So I don't. So, but then that's what now we're talking about, like personal distinctions and differences and rules and stuff like that. I don't even know what the original question was at this time. So the original question was, is it a sin for the DM to not follow the rules as written a good portion of the time? My personal stance is that I, as a dungeon master, try to follow the rules as much as possible. There are a couple deviations and stuff. And I want my players to be able to basically get the player handbook and know that this is how the game is run. This is my reference for what the rules are. And I don't have to get a 50-page handout from my dungeon master about all of his house rules. And so that's one of my considerations as well, is that they just don't have to worry about all the different stuff that I'm dreaming up and making and stuff. I will say that as more splat books come out, like Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Tasha's called Xanathar's Guide to Monster, whatever. I can't, they got all these fancy names. They should just say Splatbook 1, Splatbook 2, Splatbook 3. Xanathar's, no, Volos, no, Xanathar's. See how confused I am? Xanathar's and Tasha's. I can say that as more of these splat books come out, there's an increasing number of things in these splat books that I'm not allowing my players to use. There are some of these things that are insanely powerful and really broken and messed up. So I have players constantly, we had this one thing, what was it? There was a halfling feat. There's a halfling racial feat. It was something about luck. There was some sort of thing where they could use their reaction to basically, if somebody else had rolled a 1, they could use their reaction to let them re-roll it. It became apparent in just one game session when a player had that, it is broken as crap, way more powerful than other feats, like just lights years behind it. So the more crap they come out with in these splat books, the more things that I'm just like, ooh, that's really broken. That doesn't work. So there's probably going to be more house rules on stuff as they break the game more and more with their new products. Bountiful luck. That sounds about right. Bountiful luck sounds about right. Yeah. Anyway, my preference is to follow the rules. And here's another big point too, I feel is important to mention. New dungeon masters should not be homebrewing the rules. If you are just learning the game, here's the problem. A lot of times folks who are just getting into the game and learning the game are sometimes the ones that are most prone to want to change the rules because they're all excited. Whee! And they're just like, ah! And they just want to change rules and do all this stuff and be like, ah! You know, the problem is that if you're just getting into it and you're just learning, you don't understand the rules well enough, and you're probably not a game designer. You don't understand the rules well enough to start changing them. It's kind of like when you're learning to write. There are certain guidelines for writing. There are style guides, there's grammar, there's punctuation, there's things, there are ways to write. You have an introduction here, you have a body. There are ways to write that you learn how to write. And once you get to a certain point in your writing that you understand these things and you internalize them, then you become better able to break those rules and do your own thing and still have it work. But that's because you went through the rigmarole of learning how to do it properly in the first place. You know, so my suggestion is that if a new dungeon master should follow the rules. And then as you get experience with the game and you understand things, then you can start changing things. When you understand things like bounded accuracy and how all these things were, and why it's such a big deal to go from 15 armor class to 20 armor class. And why, if you go from 20 armor class to 25, it's a huge deal in 5th edition and how its rule set works, you know? And so my recommendation for new dungeon masters is to follow the rules until you've played for a while and you understand them, and then you might start tweaking things, you know? And I know it's hard. It's probably an anti-pattern, I would guess, but I don't know. Well, thank you, Hell Jordan. This is actually one of my favorite shirts. It is super comfortable. And the logo and the junk on it is pretty cool too, you know. Mostly I like wearing this shirt because it is comfortable for me. Captain Awesome says, any tips for a new dungeon master about to run Curse of Strahd? Pick a different module? Curse of Strahd is a rough module for a new dungeon master, I'll be straight up. It is not, it would be probably one of my last recommendations as a new dungeon master module. It is fairly open world. It is kind of, call it sandboxy. But the thing with sandboxy is that you can control where your players go by giving them certain plot hooks. So as much as people will be like, oh, it's just a sandboxy, it's like, yeah, but I can help guide my players in certain directions by giving them certain plot hooks, you know? But it is kind of open world. It is kind of a little sandboxy. There are parts of it, like Valaki that needs some tender loving care, or they'll be a hot mess. And it's not many of the parts of Curse of Strahd. It does have your traditional dungeons like Death House and Amber Temple. So there are traditional dungeons, Wizard of the Wines, Winery, but there are lots of parts of the world that aren't traditional dungeons, and it's easy to run a dungeon, a location-based adventure, any enclosed area. Those are pretty easy to run. Those are probably the easiest adventures to run. But once you get into the open area, like Valaki, running a city adventure in Valaki, where there are multiple locations, multiple NPCs, there's political stuff going on, there's different stuff, that's challenging. That's a challenging sort of adventure to run. And have it be, and do a good job and have it be fun and enjoyable for your players, obviously. Anybody can just kind of like, stumble their way through it. I'm referring to having it be an enjoyable game experience, I guess. So I feel like, what would be my recommendation? Let's pretend that your mind is set and you want to do Curse of Strahd, which is fine. You don't have to not do it. I'm just saying it's going to be challenging, which is fine. I usually would say that you don't need to read a module all the way through before running it. When I personally was going to run Curse of Strahd, because of the way it was designed, and I felt that it was important for me to try to read through it, before I started running it. And so, took it with me every time I had to go upstairs to the sitting room, and I got through it in about a month or so. It wasn't a big deal. It's not a very long module. It's not super long. It's not like, say, Dungeon of the Mad Mage, which is really big. So it didn't take too long. So consider reading through it. One of the things you need to do too, I think, is to think about the types of plot hooks that you're going to give your players. You need to give them, the module is not a linear module, or it's not designed to be a linear module. Many modules are linear, and they'll imagine that players do this first, then they do this, then they do this, then do this. Curse of Strahd isn't necessarily designed to be linear in that the module isn't going to really tell you do this, and this. It will tell you what levels the different adventures were designed for, but it doesn't help you, the dungeon master, to lead your players through the module. You need to figure that out on your own. Which adventures they're going to go to first? What plot hooks am I going to give them? And those sorts of considerations. So there's a lot more prep work, I feel, involved in getting the module to work together as a cohesive whole, if that makes sense. So you'll have to think through that, and you'll have to figure out how that's going to work. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I don't know if that's helpful. But anyway. Have you ever had a player use a lance without a mount? How did it go? Or have you ever homebrewed a lance without the special property for allowing one-hand use? I don't know. I've never had a player use a lance without a mount. I've never had that happen. Let's take a quick look here though at lance. I'm curious now. I've never had players use lances. You have disadvantage to use a lance to attack a target within 5 feet of you. Okay, that's fair. It's a lance. Also, a lance requires 2 hands to wield when you aren't mounted. Look, if a player wants to use a lance, they're welcome to do it, but I'm going to apply these rules. If they want to be like, well, I want to make it so the lance can be used to a target that's 5 feet away from me, and I want to be able to use it only one-handed, I'll be like, okay, that's fine. We're going to call it a spear, and we're going to use the rules for a spear. Period. End of story. Here's the thing. The player who wants to do that, what they're trying to do is they want to get 1d12 piercing damage by homebrewing a special weapon and skirting around the rules. And I will say, no, you're not doing that. You are going to use a spear if that's what you want, or you can use a halberd or a glaive, but it's slashing damage instead of Well, we could take a halberd or a glaive and we could call it a ransuer and give it the piercing type. I'm fine with that too, but I'm not homebrewing a lance so that you can get extra damage. Yeah, we're not doing that. Either you follow the rules here, which are intended that way to be balanced, or you can use a spear or another glaive or something, So that would be how I would land on that. It's like, I can read into the intent of why a player would want to do that. And I'm like, no, you're not skirting the rules to get a more powerful weapon, dude. Dragon God says, what is the best way to address a DM railroading his homebrew and being too vague about some key details to run your character? I'm thinking about quitting the game, not feeling the fun. The best way to address it is to talk with him. Like, if your only hope ever of a game improving, if you feel your dungeon master is not doing a good job, is to talk with them. That's your only hope. That's your only hope. Talk with them. You need to explain to them how you feel, and ideally go the extra mile and come prepared with some suggestions for how they could change things to make it better for you personally. So you need to explain how you feel, and then, you know, ideally you could give some suggestions or something, if you feel that they would be receptive to it, you know, but you got to talk to them. You got to talk to them. And you just have to explain that you feel like you're being railroaded, you know, and that you're not getting these key details. And it's literally just having a conversation around those items with your dungeon master. If you don't give them the benefit of the information so that they have the opportunity to look at, there are two ways this is going to go. You have the conversation and the DM is like, Meh! And they're not open and they don't want to hear it and they don't want to change. And then you make a decision. Am I having fun? Nah, then you walk. However, if your DM is open to feedback and is like, oh, okay, then they might change. They might work with you and they might try to make the game better for you. And then you won, right? And then the idea would be the game gets better. Because here's the thing. So sometimes dungeon masters are far from perfect, obviously, and all of them have problems of one sort or another. But many times we can be blind to our flaws. And if the flaws aren't pointed out to us, then we may never know about them. We could be walking along, running our game, thinking everything is fine, but it might not be. We just don't know it. We're ignorant of those flaws. We can't see those flaws. And so it takes somebody else to show those flaws, to give them the opportunity to improve upon it. But of course, you have a couple different types of people in the world. Some people are going to be humble and willing to accept feedback and improve their games. Other people are not going to be humble. They're going to reject it with probably some foul language and tell you to buzz off or something. I don't know. And then they're not going to, you know, but, you know, but it takes courage on your part to bring up that conversation. It'll take courage for you to step forward and talk about it. You know, I tend to feel that most people don't have that courage. Most people are just going to walk. They're going to say, and they're going to walk because they don't have the courage to have that conversation with the dungeon master. It's easier for them to just walk and try to find a new dungeon master. So that's some advice for you. Did Penguin Butt chop somebody else's head off? No? Okay. Okay, cool. Dragonbite says, I told the player I was going to start using passive perception less to give the players more agency and more reason to RP. He got really upset and started moaning about how his future build relies on it. He's currently level 2. How would you deal with a player like this? You're welcome to build a different character. If Squeaky, he's biting me. If he at level 2 has already made decisions on his build that your new rule or your new way of running the game is going to affect, then I would say you're welcome to make changes to your character. I am now going to be using a rule or a way of running passive perception that negatively impacts what you had already done. So you're welcome to change that. And obviously you're welcome to change your future build. Recently I had a player who rolled up a character, a halfling sorcerer who had that he had the, what is that luck feat? We just talked about it. Somebody post it. We just talked about that luck feat. What is the name of it? The new halfling racial bountiful luck. So he was a halfling sorcerer. Thank you, Del. He was a halfling sorcerer with bountiful luck. And the very first game session that he was using bountiful luck, like, it became abundantly clear that that would not be allowed. So what I did is I said, look, bountiful luck is too powerful. This is what we're gonna do. There is a feat called Lucky that allows you to use it 3 times per long rest. So guess what? You can use bountiful luck 3 times per long rest. And we're going to bring it down to the power level of an existing feat. And so that's what I told him. That's how we're going to handle it. I'm not going to totally just destroy it, but I'm going to adjust it so that it is reasonable. And he basically said, look, the only reason that I created a halfling was so that I could get that feat. Because honestly, halflings and sorcerers don't work too well together. Like, they don't make good sorcerers. They don't get the right bonuses to their stats and stuff. And the moment he said that, the moment he told me that he had chosen a halfling only for the feat, and that halfling and sorcerer didn't even work well together, the moment he said that reinforced my decision of, yeah, it's way too powerful. If you would choose a suboptimal race just to get the feat, then that tells me that feat is way too powerful. But what I told him is then, okay, that's fine. You can change your race, no problem. Because I made a ruling that affected your build, you got a free do-over. So he swapped out his race for something else that was more appropriate for a sorcerer. And then we keep on playing, you know? So yeah, I do that. If I make a change that negatively affects somebody's build, I allow them the opportunity to change some stuff so that their build isn't like nerfed and screwed and stuff. Yes, I just nerfed the race. No, I didn't nerf the race. The race did not have bountiful luck before Tasha's came out. Nothing was nerfed about it. The feat was nerfed because it was way too powerful. Like many other things that they're publishing that are way too powerful. Facto Octopus says, hey Luke, can you suggest any of your modules adventures on DM's Guild or the DM layer for running a brand new player through a 1 or 2 shot adventure, something where they can get an idea of 3 pillars and mechanics? Oh, is Bountiful Luck from Xanathar's? Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, I can't keep track of all the splat books. I don't know. I create so many adventures. I have adventures up on DriveThruRPG. I have adventures on my website, thedmlayer.com. I have adventures that I create for my Patreon PDF. And I create so many of these adventures that I can't keep all the details straight in my head to which one would be a good thing for a one-shot for players. I would go over to my website, thedmlayer.com, and browse through the adventures and just pick one that you think would be fun. I don't know that there might be one out there that fits your use case specifically. I just don't know what it is offhand. I'd have to go out there and look through them all to find the one that works, and you can probably do that better yourself because you know your players and you know your style and stuff. So that would be my recommendation for you. I just created so many adventures I can't possibly keep them all straight. How do you deal with clerics, warlock, and such? Like, how much importance do you put on their big bosses? Should I do some things around them or just let it be? I don't even know. I don't know what you're talking about. How much importance on their big bosses? I don't understand that question. Clerics, warlocks, and such don't have big bosses. Like, I create bosses for the adventures. Yeah, I don't understand that question. Sorry. Is there a house rule that you think should be official rules? No, not really. I don't think so. Deities? How much importance do you put on their deities? Their patrons or their gods? Oh, okay. How much importance do I put on that? I feel like incorporating that. So if you have clerics and warlocks in your game, and obviously they have deities they follow, and then they have patrons that they follow. If you can incorporate aspects of that into your game, even subtly here and there, it's going to be a nice touch that your players are going to appreciate. Now, how much you want to incorporate that into your game is up to you. You might do if you're running a character arc. So you have like, you have your main campaign arc, but then you have a character arc that's based on their backstory or something, or a personal thing that a character wants to do in the game. You might have a character arc that's built around their deity or built around their patron. Their patron might have something they need them to do. Might say, hey, listen, Mr. Warlock, I've been giving you all these special powers for quite some time now, and now I have something that I need you to do. And they might have to go on a quest with the entire group, because we run group games. So the patron or the warlock and the rest of the party needs to go on a quest. That could be a little character arc, that they go on. So you might do something like that. I definitely recommend trying to incorporate it at least a little bit, because it's gonna add a nice touch to your game, and your players will appreciate it, I'm sure. How much you want to do it or how little, it's kind of up to you and the style of your game and how you like to run things. Some games and some dungeon masters and players focus a lot on things around their own characters and their backstories and stuff, and in which case you want to incorporate a lot of that. Others, like, especially if you're running a module, then it might be more of a subtle distinction, as opposed to an entire quest that's just around their deity or their patron. It might be more subtle if you're trying to run a module, and not have like other adventures that are kind of tangents a little bit. So there's no hard rule. I recommend doing something. How much or how little is up to you. Any advice on multi-classing? For example, best Squeaky, you're gonna get it. He's down here biting me. He wants me to give him attention. What? He's jealous. Any advice on multi-classing? For example, the best way to do it. Recently, my rogue assassin ended up as a Saint of Bahamut. For roleplay, I want to make them a few levels of paladin. Never multi-class before, so feeling a little out of my depth. So you're asking a player question to a dungeon master who is rarely a player. When I am a player, not very often, and I multi-class, also not very often. I do not like multi-classing. I much prefer to play a straight, 1 to 20 character class, personally. I follow the rules. There's literally a rules section in the player handbook that gives you the rules for multi-classing, so I just follow the rules. If I'm feeling really ambitious, I might go out to the internet and look up sample builds for multi-classing. But usually those are depressing, because the build will have all these special things, and it'll be like, do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And then by the time you get to level 15, everything comes together, and you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do this. And I'm just like, yeah, by the time I get to level 15, so I'm gonna play 3 years before I get like the superpower that comes together. So usually when I go out and read like combos and guides on the internet for like combo classes and stuff, usually those don't actually make my game experience any more fun. They usually decrease my game experience. I usually have more fun by just picking something that I think will be cool, that I will enjoy doing, and then just going and doing it. And then I don't know, it's just more enjoyable for me. But that's just a personal thing, But I have no advice for you. The wrong question to the wrong person. Yeah, we do owe them a cat strike. I'm petting him right now so he doesn't bite me. Squeaky! Get my finger. Do you have any advice on how to spice up a dragon fight? They're plenty powerful, but it's the first time my players are fighting a dragon. I want it to be memorable. Okay, first rule. You are a butthead. Cat, he's gonna get it. He's biting me. The first rule for dragon fights. Do not let the players surround and pound the dragon. Do not have the dragon land on the ground where they can all surround and pound the dragon. No dragon would ever do that. This is what a dragon would do. Let's say that we're fighting a black dragon in a swamp. This is what a dragon would do. Dragon, first of all, his lair is underwater, in an underwater like area. That's where his lair is. There's swamp water all around. The dragon is going to fly up into the air. He's going to strafe his breath weapon. His breath weapon is going to hit a lot of people. And then the next round, he's going to swoop down. He's going to grab one of the characters, probably a weak looking character with no armor. Let's pick a wizard. He's going to grab the wizard. He's going to grapple that wizard. He's going to fly off with the wizard. He's going to spend a couple rounds just flying away with the wizard. And while he's got the wizard grappling, flying away with him, he's attacking the wizard. He might kill him, he might not. And then he's going to drop him way off in the swamp somewhere. And then he's going to fly back to the rest of the group, who's like, what the heck just happened these last 2 rounds? And then by that time, his breath weapon has recharged. He's going to strafe them again with his breath weapon. And then he might grab somebody else. He might not. He might just plunge into the swamp underneath the water, into some underground tunnels where they can't find him. Wait till his breath weapon recharges again. And then he'll like pop his head up, zap them again. I think dragons have acid. It's a cone of acid. Is it acid or a line? I think it's a line. I think it's a line of acid. He'll pop up again. He'll zap him with some acid. He might dive back down. Okay. And then, I mean, tactics like this, you know, he might come down for 1 round as the group is scattered or something, land next to somebody who appears squishy, take them out. What he is not going to do, what he will never do, is get into melee range with a paladin, with a fighter, with a barbarian. He will not get into melee range with them. Dragons are extremely smart. They've lived for centuries. This is not the first time a plucky group of adventurers has come to fight them. So they're not going to get into melee range with these morons. They're going to make them use their ranged weapons, if they have any. I once ran a game where they were all level 17, I think, and they were fighting 2 dragons on the wing, flying around, and I want to say 3 out of the 5 characters had effectively no ranged weapons. It was not a happy day for them. Give your dragons spells they can cast too, and obviously they get legendary actions and stuff. But play your dragon intelligently like that. You know, you probably don't want to have a roof, you know, that's going to trap them in. You want to be able to maximize their use of flight. You know, you want to disrupt and maim and torture the characters. Dragons aren't going to fight fair. They're super intelligent, you know. So there are some thoughts for you. It's just a matter of your creativity. But the last thing you want to do, the last thing you want to do is plop your dragon down in the middle of the room and let him get surrounded and beat into a pulp. That is the worst thing you could possibly do with a dragon. Not because it's just bad, like as far as running a dragon, it's horrible role playing too. Dude, grandma, if your dragon can swim in lava, the dragon grabs a player and drags them into the lava with him. That is 100% what a dragon would do. A red dragon is immune to fire damage. A red dragon would absolutely grab a player, drag them into the lava. That's like a lot of damage each round. I would totally, that's the way to kill the paladin or the fighter. Drag him into the lava, baby. There's lots of ways you could do that. Your players aren't gonna probably like it, and they're not gonna think it's fair. That's the way to do it. Watcher says, with an excess of splat books, do you think that it's relevant to make playlists of classes, spells, whatever for different setting types. Too much information is chaotic. I don't know what you mean by playlists. You mean like only certain things that are allowed or something? I don't know. I'm not sure what that question means. What is my prowess in arm wrestling? I am not a good arm wrestler. I've never been a good arm wrestler. Never. I don't know if I just like my bone length or something, or my leverage. I don't know what it is, but I've never been a good arm wrestler. Even when I was fairly strong, like, you know, with bench pressing and all this kind of bull crap, I was never a good arm wrestler, ever. I would like struggle against people that I knew were weaker than I was. So yeah. And I would sometimes hurt. I would pull a muscle or something, and then I wouldn't be able to like lift and crap. And I'm like, that's pretty stupid. Now I can't lift for a while because you're doing arm wrestling. So yeah, arm wrestling was never my thing. How do you be a more creative player in D&D? I'm interested in improving my creativity through D&D. I mean, I'm primarily a dungeon master. How do you be a more creative player? Well, if you want to improve your creativity, usually being creative means doing unique things that people haven't done before. So I don't know if there's like a playbook for that. What are the steps to being more creative? You could go out and read what other people do and then think of different ways to do things than what they do. You could, I don't know how I would answer that, dude. I think though that your creativity is probably going to be improved just by playing the game. You know, like D&D inherently just lends itself toward creativity in certain ways, for the most part. So I don't think I have a good answer for you, dude. I'm sorry. Adroit Conceptions, thank you for the Prime. Appreciate that. Hello, Hot Mitts. How you doing? Oh, yes. Be more creative. Read, hike, experience music museums. Get off social media. Yes, get off social media. If you want to be more creative, get off social media. Turn off Twitter. Turn off Instagram. Turn off Facebook. Turn off all this horse crap. Get out of the echo chamber. Get out of the echo chamber. Yes, that's true. Turn off Twitch. Yeah, but just wait 2 hours and then turn off Twitch. Turn off TikTok. All TikTok is people copying each other. Somebody comes out with a dance and everybody just copies the TikTok dance. It's not. It's social media is like the antithesis of creativity. It's just this big echo chamber where everybody is doing what the masses do. That's all social media is. So it'll kill your creativity. It'll make your thinking littler. Yeah. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. Turn off social media. You'll actually probably also be happier as a person if you don't engage with social media. You'll be happier as a person. Probably have less stress and less anxiety if you don't go on social media. I'm not a professional here, psychologist or some bullcrap, but I bet you're happier. Moondog, thank you for the tier 1, man. Appreciate that. Yeah, I'm getting low on coffee. Yeah. Oh, what is this? Hold on a second. Oh, we have a hype train going. Whee! Okay. Dell says, as a cybersecurity professional, I would advocate you getting off those platforms regardless. You can view without giving away anything. Yeah, my coffee is so low. The hype. Oh, guys, we're at 94% on a level 1 hype train. We're at 94%. Who's gonna push us over? Somebody's going to. Somebody's gonna give like 100 bits. Oh, look at that. Oh, there's okay, Alien Drool. Thank you, Alien Drool, for the tier 1. Couldn't resist. Rebel Squirrel, thank you for the Prime. Appreciate that. Well, glad to have you here, Rebel Squirrel. Okay, we completed level 1. We have completed level 1. Guys, we're at 22% on a level 2 hype train. These stupid hype trains. I mean, yeah, let's get to level 3. Oh, there we go. Macaroni and cheese. I think. Thank you for the Prime. That's awesome. Have you ever tried to play D&D while drunk? No. Like, one, I don't get drunk. But I will tell you a cool story. One of my players would always bring me like an adult beverage to each game, which I was very appreciative of. And this one time he brought me one, and like I'm used to like a normal beer. It's not that big of a deal, you know. Nothing's gonna happen, you know. But this one that he brought me this one time, holy crap. It was like way more effective, let's say, than I would have ever thought. And yeah, I told him very, very sternly. I was like, dude, never ever bring me that brand again. Like, because I don't appreciate losing control of myself. You know what I mean? That is not something I care for, you know? And so he gave me that, and like, you know, what was it? It's called Four Locos or something, but it was way more than I would have thought. And I was like, dude, don't ever bring me that brand again. Like ever. Yeah, that was not something I want to repeat again. Oh, look at this. Quasum's hype train is my kryptonite. We're at 78% on a level 2. Divine Apathy, thank you for the Prime. Quasum's, look at that. You need to go blow your paycheck to get us to level 5. Let's go, man. Blow your paycheck. Give it all right back to me. Actually, no, you're not actually giving it back to me. You're literally giving 50% of it to Twitch. Twitch takes 50% of your sub money and puts it in their coffers. So don't do that, Quasums. Don't make Twitch any more money. They don't need any more money. The old DM. Oh, there we go. Thank you, old DM, for the tier 2. Oh man. Quasums, 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Dude, tier 2, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Which completed level 2. I think we're at level 3 now. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Oh, this is so exciting. We were at level 3, you guys. I don't think we've ever gotten to level 4 before. Have we gotten to level 4? I don't think we've ever gotten to level 4 before. Holy crap. My gosh. I'm gonna go out and buy a donut. These hype trains are awesome. All right, keep your questions coming too. We're getting low on questions. Holy crap. Almost every question in the spreadsheet was asked by the same person. Wow. Crazy Overlord, thank you for the 100 bits, dude. Sorry, Dan. Dan, can you just ban me? Give me a 5-minute ban. Give me a, what is that, a temp ban or something? Macaroni and Cheese says, that's one of my big problems, is that my players partake of some substances during the game. It's gotten to the point now where everybody is standing outside when it isn't their turn. Yeah, I wouldn't want to. That would make me uncomfortable. I wouldn't be able to DM that group. That would make me very uncomfortable. Just honest. I'm behind in time. What does a hype train actually do though? Dr. X, I'm so happy that you asked. Do you want to know what a hype train does? A hype train is a psychological scheme that Twitch invented to get more of your money. That's exactly what a hype train is. They keep the train going, get subs, get bits. That's exactly what a hype train is designed to do. Get to the next, and look, it's got a timer. The timer is ticking down. It's ticking down. It's just another thing that Twitch invented to get more of your money. That's all hype train is. I mean, it's probably supposed to help streamers too, because, you know, if people sub and give bits, half of it goes to the streamer as well. But they're taking a 50% cut. That is the steepest cut anywhere. The steepest cut anywhere. YouTube takes 30, Patreon takes about 7. It is a 50% hardcore cut. Man, it's nasty. It's like they're giving you the platform. Agreed. They're giving you the platform. But the streamers are doing the work. And some of them work like dogs too. Oh, look at this. Ed, my man, a tier 1. Thank you, sir. You got us to you got us to 62%. Whew, I don't think we're gonna make level 4. Quasms, I don't know if you got a trump card, Quasms. I wouldn't do it. It's not worth it. The old DM is like, take my paycheck, please. Don't give me your paycheck. You're giving half of it to Twitch. Oh, here we go. VidXL, VidExe has Prime. Thank you for the Prime. We are now up to 86%. Watcher says, thanks for the honesty on the hype train. I'm trying to always be honest. Oh, 200 bits. Skeleton. Thank you. We have 5% to go. 5% to go. Oh, the pressure. Oh, 45 seconds left. Oh my gosh. You guys, can we do it? Oh, there we are. Oh, Grandma DM. Or Grandma Dam. Prime, thank you so much. Oh, we got to level 4, you guys. Oh my gosh, look at this. It's amazing. Holy crap. We completed level 3. Okay, here's level 4. Oh, there goes Hot Mitts. Hot Mitts with 5 gifted subs. Holy crap. Thank you, Hot Mitts. Woo! All right, there's level 4. We just polished off level 4. Say thank you to Hot Mitts if you just got a gifted sub. So cool. Look at that. Look at that scam train. It's just a going. It's just a going. I'm back in time too. I saw a question up here. Dunce Master, what up, dude? I see your question. 20% on the scam train. I've watched tons of your YouTube videos. What tips do you have for my first D&D stream? I've been DMing for 7 years. Your first stream? Don't worry about it. Just do it. Like literally, nobody will watch you the first time you stream D&D if you're doing it on Twitch. Nobody will watch you. You're gonna be at the bottom of the list with 3 viewers, and one of the viewers is you, and 2 of the viewers are your players or their significant others. So just do it. Don't worry about it. Just relax. If you want to stream, just start streaming. There's no pressure because, you know, there's just everybody at the bottom. There's like bajillion people at the bottom with like no viewers. So there's no pressure to stream, dude. Like, don't feel pressure about it. And don't worry about the fancy overlay. Forget the fancy overlay. Everybody and their brother has like some fancy overlay. Woo! I don't. I have no overlay at all. It's just, here's my Zoom window and here is Roll20, and now we're playing D&D. So I would just not worry about the stupid fancy overlay, you know, just stream your game and have fun. Have fun. Like when I stream Curse of Strahd here every other Sunday, and I don't even pay attention to the chat. I'm just running my game. I'm running my normal game for people, for my friends, you know, we're just having fun. So that's all I do when I stream it. I'm not trying to put on a show. I'm not trying to like do some super role playing, like really getting into character. I'm not trying to put on a show. You know, I just I'm playing my normal D&D game for my friends. So I don't know. It depends on what your goals are. I mean, there are some people that stream and you can definitely tell that they're trying to grow their stream. They're trying to put on a show. You know, yeah, sure, it's a D&D game, but it's also a D&D show. You know, they're trying to perform for the viewers. That's one of the key things they're trying to do. You know, and if that's one of your goals, then you probably need a fancy overlay and you probably want to try to put on a show. You know, you probably want to select your players based on their ability to perform and put on a show as well. It depends on what your goals are, you know, but if your goal is to just to bring your friends, play D&D as you stream, then I would just do that. And I wouldn't worry about streaming itself and how many viewers you have and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, seriously, like, even when you start averaging like 100 viewers per stream, it's not like you're making any money. You're not making any money. You're going to make about $250 a month. That's it. That's it. If you can get people to sub to you and stuff, you're not making any money. So even if you get to 100 concurrent viewers, you're still not making jack diddly squat. So money shouldn't really be a motivation. You know, it's not there. You know, you have to have lots of concurrent viewers for the revenue stream on Twitch to be anything worth like even looking at. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't do it for the money. It's not worth even thinking about it. If you're gonna do it, just do it to enjoy it, you know. And if you want to grow your stream, then you're not gonna do it by streaming. People who grow Twitch streams don't grow Twitch streams by streaming on Twitch. They grow Twitch streams by going somewhere else, like YouTube, that has like algorithms and searchable content, and then they bring an audience that they develop over somewhere else and they bring it to Twitch. That's how you grow a Twitch stream. You go somewhere else where you can actually grow an audience, and then you bring that audience to Twitch. So that's the way to grow a Twitch stream at the end of the day. And streaming more hours doesn't not grow a Twitch stream. If you're at the bottom of the list and nobody cares about you, you're at the bottom of the list and nobody cares about you, and they're never gonna find you. Because Twitch doesn't have like an algorithm or anything that helps surface content. It's really hard to do that, I think, for like long streams and crap, you know. But there are YouTube people that you could, if you want to grow a stream on Twitch and crap, there are YouTube people. Like Alpha Gaming is one that I like. He's a good guy to go to, pay attention to. There's also another dude called Devin Nash who does really good videos. He also streams on Twitch, and he'll talk about streaming and crap like that too. So those guys are really, really good for getting information and stuff too. Hey, we completed a level 4 hype train. Whee! There we go. At the end of the day, stream for kicks to have fun. That's my recommendation. I don't know if that helps or if that was depressing. It's probably depressing, but it's the truth, at least from my point of view. What are the most important things for me to focus on for my first D&D stream to make it fun for the audience? I don't know. It depends on what your audience is looking for. I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question because I intentionally don't do that. Like, that's never been a goal or a focus of mine to try to make it fun for the audience. What I would do is I would look at other D&D shows and what makes them successful, and then try to emulate those things. So the biggest D&D show that we all know about is Critical Role, right? So what are the things that they do that makes them successful and makes it fun for the audience? What do they do that makes it fun for the audience? Analyze what they're doing and then try to implement some of those things into your, ultimately at the end of the day, if you want to achieve X in life, whatever it happens to be, you want to look at other people that have already achieved that thing. And if you can get advice from them, that's great. But if you can't, because some people are not accessible, then you simply observe and try to analyze and try to do your best to see what made them successful, what are they doing right, and then try to emulate those things. And I don't do what you're kind of asking, so I don't feel that I'm really qualified to give you advice. I mean, except for to tell you how, if I wanted to do that, what I would do. I can tell you right now. So what I can tell you is that if I wanted to make my D&D stream more fun for the audience, I would probably handpick my players. I would handpick my players based on a few characteristics. One, I would want my players to be able to speak in character and do special voices. I feel that that is something that is probably going to appeal to more people than not. So I would probably want them to be able to speak in special voices. I would probably want them to really be able to get in character. That's the first thing. I would probably want to do that myself. I would want to be speaking in character, and I would probably practice beforehand. I would want my players to practice their voices and getting in character beforehand. So I think that's something that's probably, I would handpick players who could do that. So for instance, right now I have most of my players don't do that, and they would not be good candidates if I were trying to build like a D&D show that would be appealing to an audience and entertaining for an audience. And then I would probably run my campaigns differently. I would probably have fewer combats, and I would probably trend things more toward social interactions and things like that, where you're actually just talking back and forth. I feel like having a heavier element of that is probably going to appeal more to an audience, because D&D combat, while lots of people are going to like combat, fair, but it can, if it's not run well, it can tend to be slow. And you also, if you are doing combat, you want to incorporate lots of the same sorts of role play aspects, like, you know, speaking in character and stuff like that in the middle of combat as well, and make sure you continue acting throughout it. There's a lot of acting that would go into making a really successful D&D show that appeals to as wide an audience of people as possible. Now there are some people that won't appeal to, you know, like I tend to, when I raid people that are putting on a D&D show and they're not actually playing D&D, a lot of times I kind of don't like that. So I'm probably not part of the target demographic for that, you know. But I would probably hand select my characters, my players, for sure. I wouldn't just take anybody. If I actually wanted to create a D&D show that would be entertaining for the audience, I think it would be important to hand select who's in your game, based upon their ability to contribute to the overall goal of making the show appeal to the audience. So, but this is just my thoughts and conjectures of how I might go about doing it. But then you're going to have lots of failure, and you're going to have to learn a lot of things, and it's going to take you a while, and you might not succeed in it, you know? So you always got to be open to analyzing what you're doing and improving it and changing it along the way. It would be a continual cycle of self-improvement as you try to achieve that goal. But that would be my where I would start, you know? But that's just my guess on it. All right, we got more questions coming in, I think. I'm way back in time. Sir Salmon says I was kind of harsh, but I don't know what you were referring to because I'm like way back in time here. Make Luke talking character was redeemed, and the redemption was hey. So make Luke talking character, and Jacko, you said hey. I honestly prefer streams with around 100 viewers compared with streams with 9K viewers. Yeah, the thing is that when you have the smaller stream at 100K, like the people in the chat can actually talk with each other and have a meaningful conversation. Like if you go to Arcadium, who does D&D streams, really cool guy by the way. If you go to his, he has like crap tons of people in the stream, and all they're really doing is just throwing down emotes and stuff, and the chat is like so there's less chance to engage with people if that's what you're looking for, you know. You're really just there to like watch the stream, which is fair, you know. But that's the advantage of smaller streams, is that you can actually just talk with people in chat too and have meaning, and you can actually develop a relationship a little bit perhaps with people that are streaming too, because there are fewer people there, you know. Simpatico says Luke's players watch the chat for him. Yeah, I know. I remember this one time, Simpaticos, you said something like, We got rated by somebody with like 100 viewers, and you were like, Luke, I don't know if you care about this, but we just got rated by a big raid party. And I was like, oh, okay, I should say thank you. I am appreciative of that, you know. DM Disaster, thank you for the 100 bits, dude. I appreciate that. Duncemaster says we got 15 people watching and are up to 172 total views on the practice one. So I don't want to fail when I do it. Thank you so much. Hey, dude, 15 people watching is good, dude. That's really good. If you did it one time on Twitch and you had 15 people watching, that's pretty good. That's like nothing to sneeze at, dude. So that's good. Good job, man. Yeah, it's a tough balance. It depends on what your goals are. You know, what are your goals? It's okay to have the goal of running a D&D show as opposed to just running your normal game. That's not a bad goal to have. It depends on what your goal is, you know? I'm trying to get caught up here. I have no push-ups to do. No, nobody has redeemed push-ups. Actually, I can't do push-ups today. I hurt my hand. I literally, I'm not making up excuses. I literally hurt my hand. I can't do push-ups today. Can we get a penguin dances in the Patreon call? Points redemption. Penguin dances? What do you mean, simpaticos? I just sneezed my brains out. Ugh. Wish you could talk to my son who's trying to be a Twitch star. How old is he, Nixit? How old is he? Luke, do some redemptions. I'm like way, but I'm behind in time. I'm behind in chat. Trying to get caught up. Oh man, I see. Okay, I see questions. Cool. I hurt my hand. I can't do push-ups today. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like a crappy excuse because I'm always trying to get out of the push-ups, but it's literally true. Oh, he has a college degree and is broadcasting right now. I mean, if he's like got a job and he's, you know, making money and crap, and he's just broadcasting in his spare time for kicks, there's no harm in that, you know. If he's in the basement, you know, with no job and thinks he's gonna make it by broadcasting on Twitch, then he's probably deceived. You know, it's not gonna happen unless he creates content on like YouTube or other discoverable platforms and then creates a big following there and then brings them to Twitch. I'm not a wimp. What about doing planks? No! Planks. Doing planks. I injured my hand. I can't do it. All right, let me... I did the talking character thing. Look at all my push-up redemptions disappeared. I must have been hallucinating. I saw them. I talked to you guys. I looked back and they were all gone. If that could happen every time, just be a big hallucination. Oh man. Nope, this is his job. He's happy, but I'm worried. Well, no. How much is he making? Like, what's his income? Like, you can't just say, okay, my job is to walk around the block and just walk around the block. Like, you have to make money at it. It's possible, but the chances of being able to do it by only streaming on Twitch are so small. If you don't create discoverable content somewhere else, it's probably never going to happen. That's the truth of the matter. But that's hard. Creating discoverable content on YouTube and other places is hard. It is the easiest thing in the world to turn on Twitch and just start streaming. Anybody can do that, and in fact, they are. But creating discoverable content on YouTube and other places like that, they will actually get an audience, a following, people that care about what you have to say, and then who will follow you over to Twitch. That's hard. It's very easy. It's very easy to just turn on Twitch and start streaming. And the more and the which actually makes it harder because it makes you more competition. There are more people trying to do the exact same thing that you're doing, you know, which makes it harder. The lower the barrier to entry to getting into doing something, the harder it is, potentially, usually, for you to get success at it. Creating YouTube videos is a lot harder to do than creating just streaming on Twitch. Fewer people create YouTube videos and far fewer are successful at it, you know? So you have better chances of creating YouTube videos that are successful than probably streaming on Twitch and becoming successful through no other means besides streaming on Twitch. I think Luke needs to feed the kitties and go get some coffee. The old DM, you are so right. I do. You're a DM, not a magician. How do they disappear? I don't know how they disappeared, but I am very appreciative to my wonderful moderators for making it happen. All right, let's do a cat strike. And then when I get back, we'll answer some more questions. I know there were, I know, Squeaky, calm down. I have a bunch of questions in here to answer. You should tell your son, Nixit. Hold on, Nixit, I'm gonna type out something for you. That right there is a YouTube channel, Alpha Gaming, that you should have your son go watch. Alpha Gaming will tell you straight about how to grow a Twitch stream. His whole channel is devoted to growing Twitch streams and stuff like that. We gotta get these. I only got 2 cats right now. I only got 2 cats. We need more. Hey, let's go. Oh, here we go. I got 4 now. Little girl. Mommy. Mommy. It's my mommy. All right, I have 5 now. Little girl, get over here. Get over here and get some snack. Let's go. All right, I'll be back. You watch the kitties. He couldn't get his tail in there. Orange, get the rest of your butt in the box. It's too much work pulling his tail into the box. Oh man.
Mommy, get over here and get some kisses, some snack.
Little girl ran off and hid behind the couch. Within the circle. Hello. That's Tiffany's group, isn't it? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Welcome. You came just in time. Thank you for the raid. All right, keep the questions coming. We haven't had a rant tonight. Nothing so far has provoked a rant. Wow. What's up, Tiffany? How you doing? How many players did you kill tonight? This is the question. This is the only question you need to ask a dungeon master after their game. How many players did you kill? You're saving up for a rant unlock? Nice. Like my latest video. Oh, you were doing some chat about D&D? You can still kill them. You don't have to play the game. Oh, your games are on Tuesdays now? Wait, today is Tuesday. Why didn't you play? Do you attack down characters? Oh, that's a good question. Oh, there's no game on Tuesdays. Oh, okay. Do I attack downed characters? Only when it makes sense to do so from a role-playing standpoint. So I know, just by metagaming, that when a character goes down, they're not dead. And I know by metagaming that the next round, somebody is gonna throw a healing word at them and they're gonna get right back up. I know that, but my monsters don't know that. Until it happens, until they see it. And then they'll be like, oh. And then the next time somebody goes down, they might stab them to make sure. However, that said, there are some monsters that are eternal, like demons and devils. You might have a Merilith that has been around for eons who knows that adventurers, when they go down, often get back up. So she might stab them a few times to make sure. That's a possibility. But then you could argue as well that all of the other characters who are still up and fighting present more of a threat. That's the typical thing my players will say. Well, you know, instead of stabbing the person who's down, wouldn't they just attack us because we provide more, we present more of a threat? Kind of. That argument makes sense, but doesn't really make sense because the character who's down, the next round is going to present equal threat once again. Because there is no mechanic by where the more injured you are, the less damage you do. If you have 1 hit point, you are just as good in combat as if you had 100 hit points. So because that is true, the next round when that player gets back up, they will present the same amount of threat. And you will have to reduce them to 0 hit points again to get them out of the fight. And they might get some more healing. So I feel like eternal opponents like devils and demons who are intelligent enough to realize basic tactics are probably going to be smart enough and have enough experience to stab somebody who's down just to make sure. So I feel like from a role-playing standpoint, it could be justified quite a bit to do that. However, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. I don't do it very often because I don't think it's fun for the players. Even though I could reasonably justify it being reasonable role-playing for a monster or an enemy to stab a player or a character when they're down, I don't usually do it because I don't think that it's super enjoyable for the players. I have done it from time to time, but I usually avoid doing it, even if it might be the best thing to do. because it just kind of feels a little, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably too soft as a DM or something, but I usually try to avoid it. I don't think it's a whole lot of fun. And my goal, honestly, my goal is not to kill the players' characters. It's not, that's not my goal. It's not why I play the game. I want it to be challenging, you know? So yeah, I don't know. There it is. That's kind of my stand on it. I don't want a TPK. That's a lot of work for everybody. Bye, Dan. Good luck with Out of the Abyss, dude. Well, thank you, Wonder Wooly. Moderators, could somebody tell Wonder Wooly where they can get this mug? The mug command. There we go. Thank you, Penguin Butt. All right, let's answer more questions. And keep the questions coming, too. We've yet to have a rant tonight. Ujuya Jawson says, this may be a dumb question. It might be. Let's read the rest of the question, and then we'll find out. This is the point where many people will be like, oh, there is no such thing as a dumb question. I'll reserve that comment for later. But it came up the other night in a friend's game. Can you use your reaction to attack if you've already used your action during your turn? Yes. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. 100% can. Let's go to the source book. I might be able to find it in the source book for you. So it's going to be in the player's handbook. It's going to be in the section on combat. It'll say actions in combat, and there should be a section that talks about opportunity attacks, using an object, making an attack. It's probably toward the end of it. Range attacks, melee attack, opportunity attacks, right here. You can make an opportunity attack when a hostile creature that you can see moves out of your reach. To make the opportunity attack, you use your reaction to make one melee attack against the provoking creature. That's it. That's it. So it is literally called an opportunity attack. All you need to have is your reaction. That's all you need. So yes, you can absolutely attack somebody with your reaction, even if you've already used your action to attack previously on that round. 100% yes, the answer is. And that was not a dumb question, in my opinion. There are some questions are dumb. There does exist in the world dumb questions. Let's just put that straight right now. That wasn't one of them, though. Hell Jordan says, Luke, what would you do if you were invited to play on Critical Role? I would ask them why. I would be like, what? Why? Why would you want, why? That's what I would ask. It won't happen though, because I'm not a voice actor. That would be I would be why? Why would you want that? What if they invited the barbarian to play in a Critical Role? Well, you know, that would be very interesting. I think the barbarian would be a very productive member of that cast. And I could probably stay in character the entire time too. And it would be lots of fun. Yeah, I could probably even do a big cheesy plug at the beginning like Sammy Regal does too. I think I could be a pretty solid performer in that role. Yeah, I could put the face paint on with the other hand, and that sounds like fun. Of course they'd have to reimburse me for my pizza expenses. And that would be probably my only request, 'cause I need my pizza. All right. Dun, dun, dun. How do you tackle long distance traveling? Do you ask players if okay to skip a day or two of travel during a 10-day travel session? No, I don't ask my players if it's okay to skip a day or two during a 10-day travel session. No, I run the game. The way I handle long distance travel, and it comes up a lot in the game. Let's pretend they're traveling a distance of 10 days, because that's the number you put in your thing there. I will, every day they travel, I usually will have a map and I'll put a hex grid over it. So every hex they travel, which is 1 day's travel, 24 miles roughly. Every day they travel, we'll roll for random encounter. And we'll keep traveling, and there may or may not be any random encounters while they travel. Pro tip. All of my random encounters are not random. They're planned encounters. So there's almost always a random encounter while they travel. Usually the random encounter is something that I found in Volos or Mordecai's Tome of Foes, where I was like, yes, this is a cool monster. It doesn't fit in my campaign or anything that I'm doing, but I want to use it. And so it is going to be a random encounter while they travel to their next destination. And then there will be this random encounter that happens. And then usually after one random encounter happens, there are no more random encounters. Everything else passes uneventfully and they arrive at their destination. So let me let you in a little secret here. Traveling isn't usually an enjoyable part of the game experience. Usually traveling is the part of the game experience that you really want to get by as quickly as possible, because everyone knows that the actual adventure that's going to achieve your goals, get you paid, progress the plot line, blah, 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 whatever, the actual adventure happens when you get to point B. And so everybody really just wants to get to point B so they can have the adventure. The travel to get there is you really just want to, unless your group for some reason loves that crap, or you as a dungeon master have the ability to actually make it interesting. Most of the time though, it's not super interesting, and it's usually just viewed as a time sink where you're not actually achieving anything of value. You're just fighting crap on the way. So for me, after one random encounter, they arrive at their destination, and then that's when the adventure actually begins. So I try to make the travel bits as quick as possible. It's mostly just you travel, you get there, you have one random encounter, which is something that I handpicked because I thought it was really cool. Or sometimes my random encounter actually is part of the storyline. For instance, recently in my Ancient Dragon campaign, they are fighting a bunch of fey creatures, and they have really, really ticked off the Queen of Air and Darkness. And so she had some red caps. She assembled some red caps as an assassination squad. And the next time the players were traveling outside of the city, the red caps came and tried to assassinate them. And they fought. It was a battle, crap like that. And so that in that case, it actually tied in with my overall campaign. But yeah, mostly just travel, get from point A to point B, have one interesting thing happen along the way. And it doesn't have to be a combat or an encounter. It could be something cool they run across. It could be a tower that's floating in the air and the lower stories have all crumbled away. And they're like, whoa, there's a tower there. What the heck is that? That could be the random encounter. And they might decide to go investigate and poke around, and they might find something cool or interesting there. They might discover some lore. That could be your random encounter. That could be the thing. So it doesn't have to be a fight. It doesn't have to be a monster. I once had, for my Youngling campaign, but 2 months ago we played, and their random encounter was they were traveling from point A to point B, and a massive group of orcs came and surrounded them, and essentially there were lots of orcs. What did they do? I think they basically were asking them for help. They were telling them about some monster that lives over here, and they wanted them to like go help them take out this monster or something. And so it wasn't like orcs they just wanted to murder them. It was orcs that really was just asking them for help. And they were like, look it, this monster has taken over, blah, 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 blah. You know, if you go take him out, you can keep the loot. We'll give you some whatever. And so that was the random encounter. And my players decided that they did not want to go do that thing. And they told the orcs no, they'd take a rain check. And then my players continued on and they went and did the adventure that they're now currently in. So that could be a random encounter too, just something cool that happens that's interesting. In this case, it was literally the orcs were like NPC quest givers that were like, hey, come do this quest for us. And my players decided they didn't want to, and they went and did the other thing that they already planned on doing. So there's a variety of different things you can do when you're traveling about. But unless you're really, really good at making travel interesting, and most people are not, don't spend too much time on it. Ooh, look at Goliath Cleric swooping in with a rant. I wonder if I'm up to that rant. It's not just the players who need to have fun DMing. The DM needs to have fun too. Goliath, are you having fun? Can I rant on that? All right. I'm trying to like prepare myself mentally for that rant. Where is this? Okay. Penguin going nuts on a cultist? Oh gosh, you guys keep talking about that. Penguin Butt seems like an evil person every time you guys talk about that. All right. Make Luke rant. Can you rant about how it's not just the players who need to have fun playing, i.e. the DM needs to have fun too? So there's some people that will tell you that the dungeon master's job is to make the players have fun. Or they'll tell you that what the dungeon master is really supposed to do is that they will tell you that the dungeon master is responsible for the fun of the game. And that if the players aren't having fun, it's the dungeon master's fault. And they'll try to tell you this, you know, that it's your job as the dungeon master to make other people have fun. I would say that, first of all, as the dungeon master, you can't make other people have fun. You cannot literally force people to have fun. It is not your job to make other people have fun. You can't do that. It is impossible. It is a job that your performance evaluation every single year will be a needs improvement. It's not going to happen. What you can do as the dungeon master is create as much as possible, and you can try to create an environment where people have the opportunity to have fun. But that's really all you can do, is create that environment, which means prepping your game, running your game, making your game as fun as possible, you know, tailoring your game to your players. But creating that environment where fun is possible is all you really can do. That's all that you can really be held responsible for as a dungeon master. Because the truth of the matter is that sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes people don't have fun. And it has nothing to do with you as the dungeon master. It has nothing to do with your failings as a dungeon master, that you didn't do a good enough job, that you were a bad dungeon master. There are many wonderful, awesome dungeon masters out there that have had players that have not had fun. I guarantee you that I have had many players who came to my games, played for a little bit, and said, I'm not having fun. Is that a comment on me as a dungeon master? Not necessarily. It might be, but not necessarily. It could just not be a good fit. What they're looking for in the game is different than the environment that I was providing for them. Or it could be that there was tension or conflict between players. You might just have a player who is just not a good fit for your group, and it's just not going to work out. So sometimes there's a mismatch of alignment there, of just the personalities and preferences and gameplay and stuff like that. So you can't force people to have fun. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about with this point. And I haven't actually gotten to the actual thing here. So now we're saying, so you definitely, as a dungeon master, you do want your players to have fun. In fact, I would say that a big motivating factor for me as a dungeon master is seeing my players have fun, seeing that they're enjoying the game. I love going back and watching gameplays of my own where I see the players laughing and they're joking and they're having fun. And that to me is a validating experience because, I ran a cool game, my players had fun, they enjoyed themselves. And that is fulfilling as a dungeon master, to know that I was a key part of putting together that game, that group, and making it possible for fun to happen, and then observing my players and knowing that they had fun. So that is a very validating, important thing for me as a dungeon master. So I definitely want that, but as much as we're talking about the players having fun, if the dungeon master is not having fun, that game is doomed. The game is doomed. The dungeon master has to do a lot of work to run these games. There's a lot of prep time. There's even during the game, it takes skill to run a good D&D game. Not just anybody can just start running D&D and have it be a fun, awesome, cool game. It takes some skill. It takes practice. It takes observing the moments in the game, paying attention, and making conscious decisions to do certain things. So you have work before the game to prep the game, all the different things that go into prepping the game. And then you have the effort during I cannot tell you how easy it is for me to be a player and just sit back and let other people do things, let the DM describe things, and then I, of course, run my own character, but I'm just running one guy. It is the easiest thing in the world to role play one character. So it's easy peasy. But as the dungeon master during the game, you're running lots of stuff. You're in charge of lots of stuff. You're adjudicating, you're running the NPCs, you're running combat, you're very, very busy, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So it's effort. Now, I will argue that it's very fun for me as a dungeon master to do those things. I enjoy doing those things, but it does take work. You can work, but also have fun while you're working. It is possible, but there takes effort to doing that. So back to my original statement. If the dungeon master is not having fun, that game is doomed. If you're not having fun as a dungeon master running your game, if you're not feeling fulfilled and you're not feeling like, yes, I enjoy doing this, then that game's not going to last very long. Your enthusiasm is going to lag. Probably the effort you put forth into the game is going to lower. And then almost assuredly, the enjoyment that your players derive out of that game is going to fall. Because if you're not having fun and you're not giving your heart and soul to it and really enjoying it and going for it, your players will probably not have as fun of a game. Their fun is going to decrease. And then it's almost like a self-defeating circle. You're not going to be having fun. Therefore, the game's not as good. Therefore, your players have less fun. You see your players having less fun, and then you have less fun because you know that you're not running a super fun game for them. And so it's like a death spiral if the DM is not having fun. If the DM is burnt out, if their heart is no longer in it, that game is probably not going to last very long. It probably has like a half-life of, maybe a few months or something. Eventually, it's going to just fall apart as the dungeon master is like, guys, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore, guys. So it's very important for the dungeon master to be having fun, which means that dungeon master, your preferences, the things that you like doing in the game are of supreme importance. You need like, some people will tell you that you should customize your game and just do things that your players will enjoy. Like, just find out what your players want and just do that, because then you're gonna be helping them have fun. But dungeon master's got to have fun too. So that means that as a dungeon master, you need to be thinking about the things that you enjoy in the game. What makes the game fun for you? What do you enjoy doing? And you have to be doing those things. You need to be doing the things that you enjoy in the game that makes the game fun for you. Is it world building? Do you like creating worlds and stuff like that? Then you need to do some world building. If it's running cool, fun NPCs with really weird, crazy voices, then you need to do those things. So yes, you 100% do want to customize your game and cater your game to your players' preferences, 100%. But you gotta make sure you are also doing it for yourself and that you're doing things in your game that you're going to enjoy, that you're going to have fun doing. Otherwise, your fun's gonna die, and then via various processes that I just got done describing, the game probably will not last very long. So you must make sure you're doing the things in the game that you enjoy doing as well. I recently canceled one of my D&D games. I have for quite some time now run 4 different games. I have my Youngling game, I have my Curse of Strahd game, I have my Ancient Dragon Patreon game, and I have my Wonder Panda campaign. And the Wonder Panda campaign is the game that I was running at work for some coworkers. We would run it every Friday. And for quite some time now, I just haven't been having a whole lot of fun in that game. It has felt to me like work. Every Friday would come along, and here's the thing. Instead of me thinking, oh, it's Friday, D&D, I would think, oh, it's Friday. That means from 12 to 1:30, I have to run D&D. I'd rather go to the gym. I actually like going to the gym. I'd rather go to the gym. I would rather. I found myself for quite some time now. I've been feeling this way. I did not have the enthusiasm to run that game. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying it. Now, sometimes I would have fun during the game, but I wouldn't look forward to running the game. I wouldn't look forward to creating adventures. I wouldn't look forward to it. And I was finding myself unfulfilled by it and not even enjoying it. And in all honesty, I probably I actually had written out an email to these guys to cancel the game probably about 2 months ago. I never sent the email because I felt bad, because I know that my players were enjoying the game and that they wanted to keep on playing. So out of a sense of obligation or maybe guilt, because if I cancel the game, they're going to not like it and they're going to feel bad. That makes me feel bad. So even though I, a couple months ago, kind of wanted to stop playing, I didn't do it. And it was mostly out of obligation to them because I didn't want to let them down. But I wasn't having fun and I wasn't enjoying it. And that probably came across in the game to them. I'm guessing they were observant enough to notice that my heart wasn't really in it anymore. But eventually, it was actually this last Friday, I finally was like, you know what, Luke, you need to do this. And I just wrote him. I was like, you guys, I think I got to take a break. I think I'm done. I don't want to keep playing anymore because I wasn't having fun, you know? And so part of it is playing online. We used to play in person and it was a lot different. And so part of the reason I lost heart a little bit, it was that we're playing online and I just didn't like it as much. For that particular group. Now the other groups still having fun. I still enjoy Curse of Strahd. Youngling group is great. Ancient Dragon. So I'm still having fun in those games, you know, but I wasn't having fun in this game. And so I was like, okay, we're done. I can't do this anymore. And we might re-examine that in the future. So point is this: you need to have fun as a dungeon master. Do the things in your game that will cause you to have fun, that you enjoy doing. It's a halfway. The players meet you halfway. There are some elements of the game that you give to them because you know it's fun for them. There are other, and it might not be fun for you. There might be things you do in your game that you don't personally find fun, but you're doing it for your players, and that's good. But you got to have those things that you also reserve for yourself that are fun for you. Now, hopefully they're also fun for your players too. So there needs to be a balance there. And if you don't have that balance, you're probably going to burn out as a DM, and you're probably not going to want to run the game. And in all honesty, dungeon masters, if you're not having fun, why the heck are you doing it? Like, dungeon master's a dungeon master. Like, we know that it's a lot of work. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it? You're probably not getting paid. So why do it if you're not having fun? So find your fun and run a game that's fun for you and fun for your players. Then everybody will be happy. Rant over. I don't even know if that was a rant. Was that a rant? Did that qualify as a rant? I gotta put that in here though. Oh man, I forgot to start the recording. I forgot to start the recording. I hope Twitch doesn't screw me over. I'm gonna have to download this from Twitch now. This was the DM should have fun to rant. All right, cool. It's not too bad. Yeah, where's Dan Bayer? Dan Bayer didn't remind me. Tony, what's up, dude? First timer, your content has helped me. Well, thank you very much, dude. I'm happy to help, dude. That's why I do it. Besides making the big bucks. Yeah, it's probably not actually a rant. It's probably not considered to be a rant. Yeah, I agree. Well, I can download it from Twitch. It's just sometimes the Twitch stuff doesn't download very well, so I prefer to, like, you know, record it on my own, but I forgot. Luke is king of the soapbox derby. I mean, I'm literally on a soapbox. I'm literally can say whatever I want, and you have to listen to me. Well, you don't have to. You could leave. Chisel, thank you so much for the tier 2, dude. I really appreciate that. Super cool. Tier 2. Very good. Was it worth your 10K? Awesome. I was gonna ask you that, if you felt that was worth your 10K. I mean, I wasn't gonna give it back to you. I was gonna take it regardless. But I was gonna ask, just out of politeness, you know. Okay, I have a cheesy plug. Fred wants me to do a cheesy plug. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do you know how you can not only put money in my pocket, but also wear the coolest clothes in the world? By buying the DM Layer merch. That's right, at the link down in the chat, which one of my lovely moderators is going to put there, you can buy t-shirts and hoodies. It says the DM Layer on it. You can be a walking billboard wearing my merch and put money in my pocket at the same time. Don't you want to be part of that? Or you could also go become a patron and get something of, like, actual more value, such as Dungeons and Dragons resources for dungeon masters, entire D&D adventures that I wrote, different resources and stuff to help you during your prep time, help you run better games and crap. So every month my patrons get a PDF full of resources. So my first PDF was in January. It had about 20 pages of content in it to help you in your games. Different resources you can use, magic items, NPCs, villains, stat blocks, stuff like that, entire adventures. This month in February, it's like 30 pages. So we put more content in it. So yeah, this, you can go do this too if you want. Or you can just go buy a hoodie. Dude, yes, old DM, thank you. It says great PDF. I'm pumped because, like, in January, it was about 20 pages long of content, and now I have 30 pages of content in it, which means that it's 50% bigger. So there's more stuff in there to help you guys. So I'm very, very happy. I'm literally putting together a team of people that are going to be able to create content for you guys, to give you guys content, my patrons content, to help you in your games. And it's good quality stuff too. So at the end of the year, is it going to be 100 pages per month? No, probably not. But like I said, I'm putting together some folks to create the content so that we can give you guys tons of content, tons of value, for your support on Patreon. So it'll get better. It'll get good. And my PDF dude is we're getting together artwork too. My first PDF did not have any artwork in it. I'm like, I gotta get this going, and I just didn't have time to do artwork and crap. So now the second one, we're gonna have artwork in it as well, which makes it feel a little bit more polished and stuff. It might be inspiring, I don't know. So it's gonna look a lot better too. So we're just slowly warming this thing up, getting this thing better, you know, that's the idea. All right, I did the cheesy plug. Ooh, a cat trip. You guys ready for the cat trip? Yeah, like most D&D YouTubers, what they do, they go like this: become a patron. And they just have their hands out. They don't actually give you a whole lot. They're just like, hey, become a patron. Just give me money. My goal is to actually give you something of value in exchange for your support. That's my goal. Crap, I think I just threw shade at people. Don't tell anybody. This is my problem. This is my problem. I got a big mouth. I gotta shut up. It's time to do a cat trip. All right, here we go. This is the cat trip, ladies and gentlemen. It's catnip. This is 100% pure organic catnip, picked from the Himalayas. Squeaky nose, squeaky nose. I have to go find their stuff though. I gotta find their banana. Where's your banana? All right, I found one thing. I don't know where their banana is. Dang it. Where's your guys' banana? I'm sorry. We have technical difficulties. We can't find the banana. The problem. Oh, we'll find it. Maybe. Where's your banana? Okay. I didn't find the banana, but I found a mouse. So that should do it. Rub it on your shirt? What? What? My cats would eat me. All right, Squeaky, calm down. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, here you go. There we go. Fun and games shall result. Put some nip in your shoes? No way, dude. They'd destroy my shoes. Make socks out of catnip? What? This is awesome. All right, I'm gonna go bio real quick. I'll be right back. Hopefully they don't kill each other while I'm gone. What is going on? Did Orange run? Did Orange bite Squeaky again? Are you serious? Oh, bye, Tiffany. Squeaky, what happened? Did he try killing you? Squeaky. Oh, it was a bite to the neck. Oh my! Oh, how did I miss that? I love. I'm gonna have to watch this on the replay. Oh, did somebody clip it? Did somebody clip it? You gotta clip it. Oh, did somebody clip it? Jeez. Wow. All right, I'm gonna keep answering questions while we watch the cats here. I answered that one. Adroit Conceptions says suggestions on getting teens who want to play to be more interested in knowing their characters mechanically or other, so it isn't left on the DM to deal with all the mechanics. No, I don't. I here's my suggestion. Just don't worry about it. My youngling group started when they were about 12 years old, and they didn't really know the mechanics, and I had to help them with a lot of it for quite some time. Now, after playing for like 4 or 5 years with them, they're a lot better at it. But you know, they were kids, they're teenagers. I just accepted that it was just part of what I would have to, you know, live with, helping them with the mechanics. I wasn't there to somehow get them to memorize the mechanics and learn the mechanics. I was there to introduce them to D&D, so like that they would have fun, that they would know this hobby that I love and have fun doing it. And you know, and D&D has lots of benefits for kids too growing up. Social benefits, creativity, you know, enjoying their lives and stuff, being part of a hobby that is productive and valuable as opposed to other things that kids could be doing otherwise. So honestly, my suggestion is don't spend your time trying to get them to learn mechanics and memorize mechanics. Spend your time just having fun with them and showing them this awesome game and getting them addicted to it, because it's going to have good benefits throughout their life, in my opinion. So that's what my opinion, my thoughts on that would be. Mommy Cat is going crazy right here. Hey Juice, what's up, dude? How you doing, man? Good to see you. If it was Strahd biting one of Luke's players. Oh, Orange? Yeah. Nico says, how do you start a group when you don't know that many people that are into D&D? You play with strangers is what you do. There's, you guys, Crimson Knox, thank you for the 1 month, man. I appreciate that. There is a lot to be said about playing with strangers. When you play with a group of strangers, you're playing with people who want to play D&D. A lot of times when you play with friends, they're not really interested in the game itself, and they're just there for the social atmosphere, and it's just not the same game. When you get a group of people who actually want to play D&D, it's a different game a lot of times than when you just get a bunch of people that are getting together for the social atmosphere, and most of them don't even care about D&D. It's a different game, you know, with different dynamics, and ultimately I believe it's more fun, and you get to know different people, and many of them become your friends. So I would say play with strangers. Yeah, there's no expectations with strangers. If it doesn't work out, you know, you can leave. Like as a dungeon master, it's actually better for me to run my games for strangers or people that aren't my existing friends, because if there's a problem player, I can just obviously I'll talk to them, I'll try to resolve it and stuff, but if it can be resolved, I can ask them to leave the game, and I do not have to worry about the ramifications to our friendship. It makes it so much cleaner for me. Obviously, I'd rather not have to do that, but when you're playing with people who've been your friends for a long time, like, you have one of them that's a bad player, how do you remove them from the game if that's what's necessary without hurting your friendship or ruining your friendship? You know what I mean? So that is a huge benefit of playing with strangers. I have so many, I field questions all the time from people who are like, Luke, I have a problem player, but they're a friend. I don't know what to do. Yeah, it's a big problem. It happens, you know? So, oh yeah. If it's the husband and wife who's friends of the DM, oh, you're screwed. Like, yeah. Or yeah, I don't know. So my recommendation with you is to play with, how do you play with strangers when you have really bad anxiety? Play with strangers anyway. Like it. So I'm not a health professional, but anxiety, I feel like it needs to be, you need to deal with it as opposed to running away from it. And putting yourself in that situation and learning to cope with it and deal with it could be beneficial for you. Like, I don't feel like running away from our problems and hiding from them are going to make them any better. It's like, we need to deal with these things. And I've suffered from anxiety too. There was a stretch of time where I had some anxiety going on, you know, and oh my gosh, look at that guy go. So I don't know, but I'm not a therapist. I'm not a health professional. So maybe what I'm saying is completely stupid. I don't know, but I personally believe in confronting things, confronting my issues, confronting the things that I struggle with and dealing with it. That's my personal belief, as opposed to running from things. Bram Silverleaf says, I work in a youth prison and thinking about starting a send group there. None of the kids have ever played D&D. What will be a good number of new players into a game? 4. Start with 4. Start with 4. That's my recommendation. Luke, what are your thoughts on the new book coming out in March? Well, what new book are you talking about? Let's go take a look. What is it? Candlekeep Mysteries. All right, let's go take a look at the new book. So Candlekeep Mysteries product overview. This is the new book. So this is coming out in a few months or something. I have no idea what to think of the new book because we literally don't know what's inside of it, do we? We have an overview summary of the book. It's going to have 17 short standalone D&D adventures designed for characters of levels 1 to 16. So this is really all I know about it, right? But I can tell you this. I personally find it more valuable to have standalone D&D adventures like this that I could put into my game if I wanted to, rather than having an entire module. To me, this sort of thing is more useful. Standalone D&D adventures that I can drop into my game if I want to are more useful to me than an entire module. And the other thing that this works really well for Wizards, creating books like this is easier for them too, because they don't have to worry about like a storyline that covers the entire module. So it's easier for them. I feel, at least for me personally as a dungeon master, it's easier for me to incorporate into any games that I have going. Just drag and drop and throw something in. I mean, it seems like they're on a big mysteries kick. Like they had, wasn't Rime of the Frost Maiden a little bit like a mystery-ish type thing too? Or was that more like a horror survival game? Yeah, I don't know. It seems very similar in line of thought with like Rime of the Frost Maiden that came out, you know, but that could be a misconception on my part. So I might not be entirely accurate with that. I mean, who knows? It looks interesting to me. it'll be something that I buy, you know. I don't know if I'll use it or not. I have to read it first, and that might take a while. Actually, you know what we'll probably end up doing? We'll probably end up doing a flip through on my stream. That's almost assuredly what we'll do. So I'll pre-order it, and I'll get the alternate cover. What's the? Oh wait, look at the alt cover. Let's look at the alt cover. Oh, so this is the alt cover. Well, I can tell you this. That's a heck of a lot better than Tasha's. Tasha's alt cover is dumb. I almost regret buying the alt cover. So this doesn't look too bad, but it's not nearly as cool as most of the other alternate covers that we have. So yeah, yes, Goliath Cleric, totally, man. So anyway, those are the only thoughts I have on that. It looks interesting to me. Something like this is far more useful to me as a dungeon master than like something like Tasha's or Xanathar's. Tasha's and Xanathar's, I get so little use out of those things when compared to something that has adventures in it that I can actually use in my games, you know? But that's all we know. That's all we know about that. Obarb says, 2 of my coworkers want me to DM a game for them during lunch. We've had about 30 to 45 minutes of playtime realistically a few times a week. Any tips for making the best use of such sort sessions? Yes. I actually was doing this for a while with a speaking is hard with some coworkers at work. And we had about an hour to play, 50 minutes, say. Use Theater of the Mind. Don't use minis and grid. That takes way more time. Use Theater of the Mind and be a little bit loose with the combat rules as far as like range and like don't count out. Don't be like too specific in like how far distances are. Just say that the monster is 1 move away. You have to get a little bit more vague and generic with Theater of the Mind combat if you want it to move along quickly, if that makes sense. And make your adventures a little bit shorter because you have shorter periods of time to play and it's going to be dragged out over several games or several days. Make shorter adventures rather than longer ones. Shorter works better when you're playing over like an hour lunch or something every so often. So shorter adventures work better. Theater of the Mind. Those are probably my big tips. If you have a conference room at work that you can like just schedule a meeting at, that's what I did. That works too. So Hell Jordan says, Luke, I don't have an in real life group to play with once COVID is over, but my friends who kicked me out do. Do you have advice on how I can find an in real life game once COVID ends? Yes, game shops, game shop posters. Adventures League is a very good thing. If you don't have a group, just find a local game shop that has Adventures League. You pop in, you play. It works really well if you don't have an established group. You can go on to LFG subreddit on Reddit, of course, and post there. I've had good success getting players on the LFG subreddit. You can also go to my Discord server. We have a looking for groups channel on my Discord server, where you can also find groups. So there you go. There's a few different ways to do it. Are there any mechanics, skills, feats, etc. from 3.5 that you wish made it into 5e officially? You know, the one thing that I miss, I think, from 3.5, the thing that I really missed from 3.5 was the skill points. You know how you would level up and you would get a certain amount of skill points that you could distribute across like a bunch of different skills? I miss that. I thought that was pretty cool. It made every level up kind of exciting because I got to distribute some skill points and I got better in something. Whereas with 5th edition, once you're proficient with like performance or persuasion, it never really changes. Okay, your base proficiency bonus changes every so often and it goes up a little bit, but that's not a decision you make. That's something that happens automatically part of play. So I miss the skill system. Now, yes, the skill system in 3.5 could be very, very broken. If you made a grappler build, you could have like a plus 30 to your grapple check and nobody could possibly break it. So yes, it had problems. I'm not saying it didn't, but that idea of distributing and making your skills get better every time you leveled up, I thought that was cool. Is there a setting that you were hoping gets released for 5th edition? Not anymore. Eberron I think is amazing, and the Theros. I'm gonna start reading the Theros when I get a chance too. That looks really cool to me as well. So I don't feel like I'm lacking for settings. Oh, do you want to know what setting I would love to have released for 5th edition? Let me tell you the setting that I would love to have released for 5th edition. Where's this thing? Where's that book? Where's my book? I can't find it. Oh, here it is. It's like way up here. It's hidden. I had to hide it up here because I never used this stupid thing. I would love for Wizards of the Coast to release Forgotten Realms. The official setting of 5th edition has not been published. We got Ravnica. We got what do we got? We got Adventures of Wildemount. We have Theros. We have Eberron. What else? What other settings have they published? They have not yet published the official game setting for 5th edition, which is Forgotten Realms. Not been published. Oh, and lest you bring up this book right here, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, this doesn't count. This pathetic little book here, like 100 pages, it still costs $40. Is it 40? Yeah, still costs $40. This doesn't count. This is just the Sword Coast. It's a little tiny strip of the Forgotten Realms. So we have the official 5th edition setting is Forgotten Realms, and we don't have a setting book for it. We got Eberron. By the way, Eberron is very, very nice. We got Eberron, but we don't have Forgotten Realms. So all of 5th edition is based in Forgotten Realms. It's the official game setting, and yet we don't have a book for it. How does that work? Like, how does that work? Anybody at Wizards care to answer that? Hit your head against the wall right there. Okay, that was a free rant for you. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm gonna write that down too. What was that at? That was at 225 roughly. There we go. That should show up in YouTube at some point. Magic the Gathering is more important than Gygax stuff. That's because Magic the Gathering makes them more money. Magic the Gathering is the money cow? The money? They make tons of money. They make tons and tons of money from Magic the Gathering. Tons and tons of money. And so if you can create a D&D product that also appeals to Magic the Gathering folks, maybe a little crossover action or something, you know, but you also have something else going on. When you create a campaign setting like Ravnica or Theros, it's not just that you're trying to appeal to Magic the Gathering folks. That's not the only thing you're doing. What you're also doing is there is a lot of creative effort that goes into creating a game setting like Eberron or Theros or Ravnica or Dark Sun or Forgotten Realms. There's a lot of creative energy and effort that goes into creating that setting. So when you can take something like Ravnica and Theros that already has a backstory and mythos and all of this stuff that pre-exists because of all of the lore and timelines and stuff that exists from the Magic the Gathering world, when that stuff already exists and you can capitalize on that resource to create a game setting for D&D, you are taking advantage of all of this like capital that you have invested of creativity and, you know, creating these things that are really cool, and you just transfer it over to D&D. Does it take work to get it over here? Yes, it does. But a lot of the work, the creativity, the work, all of the thought and planning, a lot of that's already been done. And you grab it, you get a team that can put it into a D&D book, do some rules and stuff. Obviously, it's a lot of work, you know, but a lot of the hard work's already been done. You don't have to create something from scratch. You know what I mean? So it's also a very smart business move to do that as well, in the standpoint of you don't have to create something new. Creating new stuff is hard. You know, when you can take something that's existing and repurpose it, that's you shortcut a lot of your expenses, you know, and you can make more money that way. So it's also smart from that standpoint as well, I feel. I don't really play Magic the Gathering. I've played it about 5 or 6 times. That's about it. Do you think TTRPGs would attract more players if the rules were presented in some other, possibly more modular way as opposed to giant tomes of rules? I don't know. As long as you did both, because I do not want to buy modular rules. As an existing player, Dungeon Master, I'm not buying modular rules. I will not do it. So if you want, you have to satisfy your existing fan base to begin with. And most people just want to go out and buy a book. Not this book, but most people want to just go out and buy a rule book. You know, if some people aren't into rule books, could you make it more modular and possibly appeal to them? Maybe. That's a lot of capital investment, time and effort to try to do that, to maybe try to capture new audiences. I don't know that capturing new audiences is a problem that Wizards of the Coast is dealing with right now. I don't know that that's a problem they're dealing with. I feel they have a lot of other people that are doing a lot of that work for them. Like Critical Role is capturing lots of people's attention and driving them to play D&D. So I don't know that that is a problem that Wizards is dealing with. You know what I mean? So COVID really helped them? Oh, I bet it did. I answered that one. All right. Luke, how would you better attract the attention of the players at your table besides having the game revolve around them 24/7? I just make you would be surprised at how little my games revolve around my players. You would be shocked. Do I incorporate things from their backstories and stuff into the game? Yeah, of course I do. But not a ton. Most of my games revolve around going on adventures. You know, my games don't revolve around the players and their wants and needs and goals and crap like that. It doesn't. Now, my Ancient Dragon group tends that way a little bit more than my other groups do, but most of the time I'm just running cool, fun adventures for them. So the answer to your question is that there isn't necessarily just one golden bullet or silver bullet for that. There are lots of things you can do as a dungeon master that are going to attract their attention and get them invested in the game and love the game. And the method and mechanism by which you do that are probably going to vary according to you as a dungeon master and what you're good at and what you're able to do and what appeals to your players. Like, I'm good at running adventures. My strength and expertise, in my opinion, I think, is running location-based adventures. That is my strength. designing a cool dungeon and having players run through it. That's my strength. That's what I enjoy doing. That's probably what I'm best at. And I mean, there's other stuff. I like tactical combat, you know, probably NPCs are probably something I'm okay-ish at. I don't know. But those are things that I use to appeal to my players, but that doesn't necessarily have to be true of everybody else. You know, you might have something you're really good at or you really enjoy doing that will grab your players' attention. So I don't think there's one thing that will do that. I think that's going to vary from Dungeon Master to Dungeon Master. What are the best classes to multi-class with? I do not like multi-classing. You want to know what everybody else does? I splash Warlock. 2 Warlock. Yeah, throw some Warlock in there. Yeah. That's what everybody does. Warlock is just like the splashing class. It's like, get Eldritch Blast. Yeah, just splash some Warlock in there. Everybody, it's the lazy gamer. They just put some Warlock in there. The biggest decision is whether it's 2 levels of Warlock or 3. Ooh, that's the hard one. Do you go for the 3rd level? Or do you just do 2? That's the hard choice, right? Oh, and fighters. Oh, yes. Splash the fighter. Why the fighter? Oh, because you can. Second wind, action surge. Oh, baby. Yeah, that's the lazy. Yeah, or 1 cleric. This is what spellcasters do when they want to wear heavy armor. Splash 1 cleric. 1 level of cleric and everything else can be wizard or sorcerer or whatever you want. And then you can wear heavy armor. There you go. There's some lessons on maybe not power gaming, but definitely min-maxing for sure. So but these are all just little cheesy things, you know. It's just like I prefer to play straight classes that are just all paladin, all fighter. Usually I have made classes that have multi-classed, but it's not the norm for me. And there are plethora of like YouTube videos out there too about like top 10 things for Ranger and stuff like that. Like, you know, there's tons of videos out there of people talking about that sort of thing right there. I just don't personally care about that crap. I realize that there's lots of there are more players than dungeon masters, and that if you're going for views and stuff like that, those are the types of videos that you want to make. You know, I just don't care about that crap. As a dungeon master, I usually have to like deal with that crap. So I'm not gonna like usually give advice for making my job harder. Oh, your name is Luke too? Oh, awesome, dude. That's cool. My cat, Mommy, wants attention down here. Oh, she's on camera too. Let's go to the cat cam. She's down here bugging me. She wants attention.
She wants attention.
Paladins are so good too. Paladins are probably one of the strongest classes in the game. They're so good in so many ways. A well-run paladin is a power horse, practically unkillable, decent DPS, but the DPS isn't even the biggest thing about them. They add survivability to the entire party. Paladins are such a good class. Whenever somebody's like, whenever I have to do a comparison of some build or something, and whether it's overpowered or not, I compare it to the paladin. How does this thing compare to the paladin? If it's more powerful than a straight paladin, then it's probably a very, very powerful build. But if it's not that much better than a straight paladin, all things considered, not just DPS, you got to consider the whole package, obviously. But if it's not more powerful than a straight paladin, then I don't have a problem with it. Because paladin is kind of like my what's the horse that keeps pace horse? My pace horse, pace car. Paladin is like my pace car, where it's like, we'll just do a comparison versus paladin to see how powerful something really is. And that's something in the core rule books. Straight paladin. Brainiac says, do you have a hot take? I have lots of hot takes. Hot takes will get me in trouble around here. Do you have a hot take on when D&D turns from a game into just improv plus DM veto in the name of as long as everyone is having fun? My cat is bugging me. Look at her. You can see her. She's like pawing at me. She just wants me to pet her. She does this all the time. I'll be at work trying to type or something, and she'll be like pawing at me, wants my attention, and I have to pet her. You can see her little head. Mommy. This is Mommy 1. Her name is literally Mommy. She has the softest, fluffiest belly. She's so adorable. As long as everyone is having fun, I don't know. I don't know that I have a hot take on that. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by it either. Improv or DM veto in the name of as long as everyone's having fun. There is a point where a D&D game turns from a game into just, I mean, you could take miniatures with a BB gun and shoot them off from a cliff, you know, or something, and everybody could have fun doing it, but that's not good. So I don't know. I'd need like an example of like what you mean, you know, and how people are behaving or something. So I don't know. I don't believe in just doing things. I don't believe in just because everybody's having fun, it's okay. I don't believe that that's a valid statement. As long as you're having fun, as long as it's enjoyable for you, as long as you're not hurting anybody else, it's okay to do it. I don't believe in that statement. I don't believe that that's true, neither in life nor in D&D. So there's probably things where everybody's having fun that are absolutely not okay. So I kind of answered that. I joined today's show while you were talking about Magic the Gathering related D&D materials. Is there another product in the works that you were aware of? No, nothing that I know of. Here's the thing, folks. Regardless of what I do, regardless of being a D&D content creator, audience, blah, 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 whatever, regardless of all that stuff, Wizards does not talk to me. Wizards doesn't really talk to any content creators that I'm aware of. Like, they pretty much have closed doors as far as I'm aware of. Like, all the other content creators that I talk to, they get nothing from Wizards. The Wizards doesn't talk to them, you know, like Paizo does, you know, other RPG will talk to like content creators and stuff, but Wizards doesn't really have open communication with content creators, you guys. Like, it's just, they don't talk to us. You know, we don't get books in advance. We don't get sneak peeks of stuff. Like, you know, it might behoove them to do so because I might actually help promote their products, but we don't get that crap. So, yeah. But the thing is that other game companies do that, you know? Well, yeah, unless you're Matt Mercer. But yeah, but that's because he's generating millions of dollars, and he's also generating millions of dollars for Wizards too. Of course they're going to talk to him. But it wouldn't shock me if they don't. I would not be surprised at all. Not be surprised at all. Hell Jordan says, Luke, is it worth it to buy the books in D&D Beyond that I own in paper? Only if you're running online games. And the modules, in my opinion, I don't know that the modules in D&D Beyond are probably not worth buying. Just buy the physical book, have the physical book, read from the physical book. The module in D&D, I have never gotten any use out of a module in D&D Beyond. I've gotten lots of use out of the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide to Monsters, the things that have monster stat blocks in them. Lots of use out of those in D&D Beyond. Any book that has character creation options is going to be useful for players and stuff, to be able to create character sheets using those resources. But the modules are not useful in D&D Beyond at all. I would not buy them in D&D Beyond. If you're running in Roll20, I would buy the module in Roll20 if you're running that module. And then you're going to get all of the maps with dynamic lighting and lots of other resources to make your life easier. I have all the books in D&D Beyond. Here's I don't know how this happened. So probably about a year ago, I bought all of the stuff on D&D Beyond. For the primary reason to buy everything on D&D Beyond is that on my streams, I show things from D&D, and I wanted to have a way that I could quickly look up things and show you things on streams. And so I spent about $400 or so to buy all of the content on D&D Beyond. And now, through some magic wizardry, I don't know how this happens, but all of the content just magically unlocks for me. So like, there are several books that have come out that I haven't purchased, and they're just magically unlocked for me. So somebody over at D&D Beyond likes me, I suppose, and just is giving my account all of this stuff because they probably know that I'm a fairly good like rep for D&D Beyond, in so much that I usually speak pretty positively about the software, except for the search functionality. I will always rant about the search functionality. So anyway, at any rate, somebody over there turned stuff on, and I'm happy. Oh, really? You think it's a flaw in their legendary bundle system? Because that's exactly what I bought. That's exactly what I bought a year ago. I literally bought that. They don't listen to my streams. I literally bought the legendary bundle about a year ago to get everything. And now everything's magically unlocked. Let's not tell anybody. Goliath Cleric, don't tell anybody. Shh. Keep it a secret. Dragonbite says, what is your opinion on setting up a PC's race to change multiple sessions into a campaign? For context, I have a human barbarian player who said, do anything with my backstory. That character in my story going forward is going to find out they're actually a war for it. I don't understand. If I don't really understand your question, if my player created a human, I would not screw with them and say, oh, unbeknownst to you, you're actually a warforged. I wouldn't do that. Unless I talked with the player and we were planning and conniving together. But I wouldn't just pull a swap and be like, you're actually a warforged. I don't like. I, as a dungeon master, have an entire world with villains, with monsters. I have cities. I have lots of things I can screw around with. Lots of things that I can change and do fun, crazy stuff with. I don't screw with my players' characters. That's off limits to me. Unless it's something that needs to be adjusted because of power concerns or something, but that I do as rarely as possible, and only when it actually causes a problem in the game. I don't screw with players' characters. Wonder Willie says, is a nat 1 an instant fail and a nat 20 an instant success? Only on attack rules. Rules as written. Natural 1s and natural 20s are only automatic failures and successes on attack rolls. That rule does not apply to ability checks nor saving throws, and that's rules as written. Many people play it differently, either because they decide to change it or they're just ignorant. The one is understandable. They have a right to change the rules if they want to as a dungeon master. Ignorance is less forgivable, I guess. I can see an argument for making nat 20s on saving throws an auto success, because when you get to the higher levels of the game, level 17, level 20, thereabouts, It will happen a lot that the DC is so high that it is impossible for you to save. It's either impossible for a player to save or impossible for the monsters to make a saving throw. It happens when you get to the higher levels of the game. So at that point, you could make an argument where a nat 20 is an automatic success, in my opinion. And I think we might have done that a couple times that we actually got to the high levels. Because you would have a DC 25 for something and it was literally impossible to make your save. And I kind of didn't like that for the players, but for the monsters as well. I felt that but that was kind of like it's not rules as written, but it's just kind of like a thing that came up. It's probably something they probably didn't think about too hard, but I don't know. What would be your preferred way to run a necromancer? As the dungeon master? Running a necromancer as the dungeon master? Well, I just fill up a dungeon with a bunch of undead, and they're my minions. That's how I would run a necromancer. Running a necromancer as a player? I don't like necromancer players because they have lots of minions and it bogs down the game. And we usually put limits on the number of minions they can have. It is my preference to not have summons in the game. Summons bog the game down to no end. I don't like summons or additional minions and stuff like that. Eric from Phoenix says, what monster did you use in the outhouse on your Curse of Strahd stream on Sunday? I couldn't figure it out. Oh, I'll show you which one it was. Hold on a second. It is called the Devourer. I think it's called the Devourer. Yeah. This monster right here. This is the one that I used in the outhouse. But here's the thing. My players are only level 5. And this is a CR13 monster. So I modified this on the fly. When they went to the outhouse, I actually didn't know what was going to be in the outhouse. But because I didn't know they were actually going to poke around. I was kind of taunting them and I didn't know they would actually go do it. So when they actually went and did it, I just had to pull a monster out and throw it in there. But CR13 is way too hard for a level 5. And so I did a couple things. First of all, I did not have this ability, which would have just TPK'd them instantly. I did not use this ability at all. All I did is I had this stuff I kept the same. Armor class, hit points were the same. And the claw attack. But this right here says it has multi-attack. 2 claws and then these things. I did not use multi-attack. All I did was use 1 claw per round. That's it. 1 claw per round. Because I was like, you know what? Plus 10 to hit, 12 damage, 21 necrotic. They can survive that. They can survive a couple hits. And they got healing word and all that kind of bull crap. So I literally customized this on the fly during the game when they actually went to the outhouse. So that's it. That's all I did. I do that a lot in the game when they do something that I wasn't expecting them to do, you know? Yeah, it was like a juvenile devourer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh yes, when eyes fell in. Oh my gosh, yes. That was awesome. I mean, I intentionally had him fall in. You know, what did he do? He reached out for the chest. Yes. Here's the thing. Okay, so check this out. Whoops. Get the right button. So when the Devourer died, the Devourer had a chest in his skull, in his cavity, right? In his chest cavity. And when he died, I described the chest sliding out slowly and going to fall in that hole. I did that 100%, and I'm not lying, I did that 100% intentionally, hoping that a player would reach out and grab it. It was designed. I improvised it on the fly, I came up with it on the fly, but that was my intention. My intention was to describe it sliding out slowly toward the hole, and then having one of my players say, I grabbed the chest. And then when he went to grab the chest, I think he rolled the chest was heavy, so he had to roll an athletics check. And I think he got a 13, which is kind of borderline. So instead of saying, what's more interesting? Either you don't grab it or you do grab it. I was like, what's the most interesting possibility here as you grab the chest? That you grab the chest and it's so heavy that you get pulled into the hole, which is an outhouse, so it's full of like urine and feces. So the most interesting thing here would be for him to get pulled into the hole, which is full of urine and feces. Probably is a testament to how my brain works. And then he got pulled in, and it was just an awesome little scene, you know, and it was fun. It was fun, you know, and so that was my intention. I was hoping somebody would grab it, and then I was hoping that I could have them fall in. That was what I was going for, and it worked out. So it was really cool. Okay, I think we're done. We're gonna raid somebody, and then I'm done. So I'm gonna go on to Twitch, and we're gonna see who is kicking around and who is gonna get raided tonight. So nobody that I know is streaming right now, so we're just gonna pick somebody. Hey, look at this guy. We could raid him. Woo! Let's see if we find somebody that looks interesting here. Chan, chan, chan. These guys are in person? Ooh. 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 What are these guys doing? Wild amount. Wild amount. We might do that. We might hit these guys right here. They have colored hair. We have green hair and pink hair. That's good, right? Different colored hair. These are the metrics by which I choose who to raid. The color of their hair. That's pretty good. I think that's a valid reason to choose to raid somebody because of the color of their hair. So this is called Soul Bear RPG. All right, let's do these guys. All right, Soul Bear RPG. Let me get this set up. Soul Bear RPG. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this. All right, I'll see you, what's today? Tuesday? I'll see you on Friday. Friday, we will be creating something together. All right. Get in the raid. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, guys, bye. See you later. Whee!